and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why? $22 million in 3 fucking hours! There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not. Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's right.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
Josh? We lost him. GM. What's up, boys?
Let's go.
New week. Robinhood's hot. How we feeling? Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. It's an exciting one. Do we want to check out schedule real quick and get into the new features and you want to talk about it?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Guys, banger week. Title of the stream, preference of the week here. The Robinhood wars are accelerating. The Robinhood Launchpad wars are accelerating. There's a new Launchpad every day. New primitives. We got one on today. The leading one, which is Pawns, which will be really cool. And so this entire week, we're going to be dedicated to breaking down which Launchpad is going to be the winner. That's going to dominate the whole thing. What's the pump fun of Robinhood? I hate to do that comparison, but you kind of got to. So let's see. Hopefully the charts look a little different, though, where this one goes up rather than nonetheless. This week we have Pawns on 12:30 today. We got Pawns coming on. That should be a really fun one, followed by Rip Cars. Okay. And this is the next Futardio launch. So we know MetaDAO just launched Credible, which was a curated launch on MetaDAO. Now this is a non-curated launch on their decentralized platform, Futardio, and it's Rip Cars. It's basically, think Collector Crypt, except instead of Pokemon cards, we're doing like collectible toy cards.
Really? And does it have a token already? Because I didn't see a token in the when I went to announce it.
No token yet. I think the raise is going live somewhat soon. And it's a micro raise. Like it's a lot smaller.
It's an ongoing micro raise. Got it. Okay.
Yep. So that's today. Tomorrow we got Krynix coming on, which we had them booked a long time ago, back when it was a little more hot, and they booked like 3 weeks out. So they're finally coming on today. We got Gumdrop.fun Tuesday, which is a new launch pad as well. It's like a mix of prediction markets and launch pads. Prediction market on the back end, then you have a token to kind of bootstrap the attention and distribution. Interesting mechanism. We'll get more on that tomorrow. And then we have Sonder coming back on Tuesday to talk about Fire, which relaunched on Robinhood. We're starting to see some relaunches on Robinhood. Fire has done that. Wednesday, we got another launch pad. We got Nate coming on to talk about Long, which is a new launch pad. Notoriously, I think they've done like 8 million trading volume already, and it's paired tokens to stocks, right? So they have AI here, Artificial Inu, which I think is the first one Nathan's been supporting, and that's like AI is paired to NVIDIA, right? So it's the AI trade. So this is kind of something we're seeing a lot of stuff happening on Robinhood in terms of like stock paired trading, because we know Robinhood's leaning into RWAs heavy. And I think this has been a really good initiative for them, because there's a lot of people trying to do this. Also, I'm not sure if you saw Virtuals tweeted, or Robinhood recently tweeted about agents in the platform, connecting API. You can use agents in the Robinhood platform now, which is really interesting. So again, leaning into that agentic finance. Also on Wednesday, stockbrokers. This one's huge. This one is an NFT collection on Robinhood. It's absolutely blown up. Now it's at 13, like the token's trading at like $13 million over the weekend, pretty much. So that one's going to be absolutely huge. Kind of get the breakdown on how this mechanism works. Tuesday, we got Wode, or Sherwode, by AJ. He's a dev who's been in the game for a while. I've known Scientino for a long time, back in early Ethereum days. So he launched another project back then. This time he's doing Wode, which we'll get into. It's also a launch pad. CPX, we've had CapEx on before. You guys know all about them. And then Friday, we have Worker, which has been grinding. It's a Virtuals product. And I think we're going to have another 1 or 2 people join us Friday. So that's the schedule, weekly recap. Now that you guys know, we can get into it. Josh, can you fire out that quote tweet for me? When you
I'm working on that right now.
No worries. But yeah, this week is a banger. As you guys also saw, and we got to figure this out, Met staking just went live. And if I'm understanding this correctly, it could be a pretty Jenny opportunity for like some passive low risk yield. Of course, you always take on the smart contract DeFi risk with this kind of stuff, but Met staking just went live. And I believe I saw, if I'm understanding this correctly, 10% of DLMM fees are going to stakers. And then for the next 3 months or 90 days, they are going to add another 10% on top of that. So 20% of the DLM fees from Meteor are going to be going towards stakers. And we know Meteor is doing, I think, $40 million annualized based on their revenue sources. I'm assuming only 10, 20, maybe 25% of Meteor circulating supply is going to get staked. So between all of the token holders, I'd assume 25% are going to be collecting about 20% of Meteor's fees for the next 90 days, which seems like a pretty good opportunity. They print a lot of money. Let's just say that. So I've staked already. Maybe I'm not understanding this completely correct, but we're going to walk through it today because I do think there's an opportunity there. This is time-based as well as size-based. Of course, you got pro rata based on size. I think the earlier you stake, the better. So I've staked already. And yeah, Josh, you wanna talk through anything there? Or
yeah, I'm just finishing up this quote tweet here, grabbing the link. Okay, this is the most important thing to do, guys, is use the MCG code for Met staking. So first off, to generate a referral code, you actually need to use a referral code already that's already out there. MCG is one of those refers. So if you go to Mira staking, all right, it's now live. So I'm going to go ahead, pin this. All right. So in the pin tweet on MCG, you'll see the link to click. So I don't know if Dom, you can kind of pull that up and maybe I'll walk you through this onboarding flow here.
Sure.
Pin tweet on as you talk about, see the link. Just mute that. Yeah. So right there, you see the link, stake Met with code MCG. So if you click on that, is where it'll direct you to get your DLM code, and we'll wait for Dom to kind of open that up. I don't know if your
wallet's not connected.
Yeah, disconnect your wallet or whatnot. Just pull it up when you're clear on that.
All right. Here, it shouldn't connect. All right. So boom, this is what it looks like.
Boom. Okay. So there you go. You'll connect your wallet. Just click cancel for now. And then basically you just have to have 200 met. So you need to go, which is like a few dollars, couple
$30,
dollars,
I think.
$30. Is it? Yeah, I would assume so. No, it's $3. So 16
really?
cents times 200 is $3. Yeah.
I saw someone tweet $30, so I just parroted that.
That's all right. All good. But yeah, so you need $3 a met, which is about 200 met. Then you can add that in, and to get a referral code, you actually have to click another referral code, which you can use code MCG. And then you can start trading. But either way, go do this because it really helps us out. I put a new position on Cash Cat this morning, and I'm already up like 6%. So delimbing is definitely the way to do it. Let's see if I can share it. We'll lag my screen, but I'll share my position so you guys can kind of see how I've done this. And then we'll tee up pawns. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but so I mean, I would imagine, and the estimated APR is going to drop soon. But cycle 1 is 30 days, and we're estimating 300K in rewards for cycle 1. So I mean, if that's $300,000 in 1 month, and you get 20%, I think is pretty high. If 20% of people with circulating supply come out and stake their met, I mean that's $303,000. What's 1/4 of, or 1/5 exact, 1/5 of circulating supply? Let's see, dollar amount. So Meteor is trading at $86 million. So yeah, I mean, that's, like 15 million bucks staked earns you a piece of 300K monthly, which I think is pretty lucrative. I think I saw like 15%.
Yeah, I'll show you this, guys. So if you've never delimbed, you can delimb on anything, on pump tokens. You can delimb on even Robinhood tokens that are bridged onto Solana through Sunrise DeFi. But you can literally delimb on anything. And look at this. I added this position 54 minutes ago on Cash Cat. I'm already up 3%, and I don't really care necessarily what the price is doing. I just care that ranges. But my 24-hour APR is actually 60%. So I will earn, given that the fees stay consistent that I've already earned, because it looks at your historical performance. Given that the fees on Cash Cat remain the same and it remains within my range, I will earn 60% in 24-hour APR, which is insane. So this is why delimbing is the most positive EV way to trade. And I don't have a huge position here. I've earned a quarter SOL on a 6.7 SOL position. And I just opened it 54 minutes ago. So providing liquidity is amazing.
I mean, that's better than a lot of what you would get paid at jobs for 6.7 SOL. It's like what, $600, if that. And you've already made 20 bucks on that. Like it's pretty insane.
Yeah, I'll walk really quick through this trade. So I am LPing a spot bid-ask strategy. So what that means is I have a layer of 50% spot. So you can choose your strategy at the bottom here. So right here is the spot strategy. It'll outline what the strategies are, but bottom right, you can add spot and then bid-ask. And that kind of gives you this shape where you have the echelons, let's say, where you have the most of your liquidity kind of out. It's like an echelon that you see on a rank or something like that, where most of your liquidity is out at the edges. So as the price is coming down, you're getting filled higher and higher in, right? So that's the light blue, which is your SOL liquidity. And then the purple is your Cash Cat liquidity, which again is selling into SOL at that higher and higher rates as the price gets, to the top part of your range. But again, like really great way to trade. What I'll do is as these fees accumulate, maybe I'll give it a few more hours, but if I get 1 or 2 SOL in liquidity or fees generated, I'll claim them and then roll them back into the range. And that way I'm compounding my earnings. So really good way to trade. And as long as it bounces in this range, I'm happy clipping. So there we go.
There it is. Love it. Let's talk let's talk on what's going on real quick before. And of course, the run of show is going to be here at 12:30 in about 7 minutes. We got pawns coming up. Following them will be rip cars, like I mentioned, and we can go through some positioning. There's a lot of stuff happening on chain.
Dude.
Metadao season, yes.
Yeah, let's cover this. This was a wild trade. Did you take this trade?
I did take it. I did take it slightly above net asset value, like I told everybody to. Let me pull up the chart here because we are looking good.
Because this went live. We were looking at this like 8 million on what was it, Friday, Dom? I forget.
Yeah, Friday goes. Yeah, Friday. I think so. Friday went live. Trading at 8 million, was slightly below net asset value for like the first couple minutes, ironically, which is just hilarious. Like why? I don't know. But yeah, dips below net asset value of 0.4 for like literally a minute. I think this is when we came on and said, okay, this is probably a pretty good spot to get in. We did the whole breakdown of Credible. It's looking really good. I mean, this is trending up. I want to talk about one of my big theses for 20.
And really quick, like before we get to the season, what you guys can do right now is go to the Meteor or the MetaDAO LP. If you go down on the right side of your deck screener, you'll find the CA for the token itself. If you take that, put that into the Meteor DLLM terminal, you can actually go and provide liquidity to this. Sorry, Dom, give us your 2026.
Yeah. I mean, just on this MetaDAO topic, Abe, you know, ask, is MetaDAO season loading? I would say yes, in a big way, right? 2026, this was an early thesis of ours for this entire year. But even through 2026 and going into 2027, let's go, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, that's the way, Abe. Nice.
I think we might never touch that price again, to be honest with you, based on just the numbers. But my big thesis through 2027 is that this ownership meta wins in a massive way. So you ask if MetaDAO season was loading, I would say yes. And here's the reason. And I had a great conversation the other day with NFT Boy, friend of the show. And we basically talked about this and agreed, like, MetaDAO has been chewing glass and doing the hard legwork for the last year. Like, they have bent their back to do, you know, to create the MetaDAO structure, to onboard teams and companies, onboard users. They've done the legwork. And now we're finally at that spot where it feels like not only do you have like a lot of traders agreeing that ownership is important, but you have great companies choosing MetaDAO to launch, right? Credible could have chose anything. They could have gone with a traditional ICO where they launch at a really high valuation, low float, high FDV. They sell into the ICO and then make a ton of money and cash out. What I think good teams are realizing is if they want real VC backing and liquid fund backing, if they want real bootstrap community and distribution, you have to go through an ownership model like MetaDAO. And I think that's going to be the big thing into 2027 is ICOs are almost going to completely transform to this ownership model. And we're seeing that by good companies choosing MetaDAO. So I think it's very clear. The hard part's done. The chewing glass phase is over. The legwork phase is over. Now it's like exponential growth phase. Great companies are realizing it. They understand the benefit to do it. Also, where else can you raise $4 million in 6 days? Half being from venture capital or liquid funds, the other half being from retail. There's pretty much nowhere. So, and then of course have a chart that looks like this, you know, 2-3 days after you launch. So it's
yeah, and we were like talking about the valuation of this on Friday, and we saw it was super reasonable. Like if you took out the pre-money valuation, I think it was like something like $6 million. They had like $4 million they raised, but it was trading at 10 million at the time, 9 million. So that meant like the pre-money was like 6, which was pretty crazy. So super reasonable for a business that was generating what was 130 million in not was it revenue 130 million or their transaction
3.5
volume?
million annualized, 30% month over month growth. If you do map out that growth, and of course you don't want to put projections on early companies like this because it's very difficult, but if you map out that 30% growth that they've had month over month since December, and you map that through the rest of the year, that 3.5 million annualized turns to like 70 million annualized, which again, like that's pretty unrealistic, but their growth is incredible, and that's what you should take note of. GM. Guys, how are we feeling? Robinhood is hot. I think after the 2 interviews we have today, I want to go through this watch list I have and just do some DD. Because what I'm seeing here, this is like big thesis number 2 I have for the rest of 2026 and 2027, is that Robinhood is really sticky. Like I think Robinhood is going to be really sticky, just like we saw early base. maybe even early Solana, like we had in early Ethereum days. I think we get a really sticky base season. I think Robinhood season. I think Vlad and Robinhood team cater really well to the trenches. So that's a big thesis number 2. And with that being said, we're still in this hyper rotation, hyper attention economy right now for on-chain and Robinhood. Everyone's trying to chase the next 5, 10x because things are running, which is leaving good quality projects somewhat overlooked after the first pump. So you have this early stage where it's like, you're early at 100K, then it pumps to whatever, 1 million, 5 million, 10 million. Then you have your late early stage where it's like the pump had happened. You're not really early anymore, but you're still late to generally being early. And I think that's where we are for a lot of Robinhood. So there's a lot of stuff that's being overlooked that I think we should jump into and break down and see if it's, an investable trade.
H Hollows, I remember you last week joining the show, I think from one of our segments. Welcome to MCG. Glad to have you back today this week. But also, if you took that cred trade, congratulations. It was a really, really good move.
Yeah. We got Ozzy in the waiting room. I can pull him up here. We got Ozzy from Pawns.
Let's tee up Pawns a little bit because I'm unfamiliar with this project. It's on Robinhood. It's a Launchpad. Any kind of like quick,
I'll tee up. I'll tee up Pawns. Pawns right now. Okay, guys, and the lore goes deep here. The lore goes deep. You guys know, man, when everyone started rotating to Robinhood, there was one Launchpad that was dominant, and that was Noxa. Right, Noxa was dominant. Notoriously, myself and Chill both took heavy positions in Noxa on the DBK chain. And what happened thereafter was a generational fumble. They closed up shop. They sunsetted Noxa. The tokens basically rugged to 0. And everyone was left basically like, what are you thinking? Worst fumble. These guys were printing $2 million a day, I think were some of the numbers I was seeing. And they just closed off shop after like printing 15 million on Robinhood after being a week old and on a brand new chain. This left the door wide open. And that's kind of how we got the Launchpad wars of Robinhood that we're talking about this week and covering in detail. This left the door wide open. And so a few Launchpads started stepping in, migrating over, Virtuals was coming out of the woodworks. Just everyone was kind of coming to play, throw their chips in the ring. Pawns was one of those players. Now, Pawns has stood out as the dominant Launchpad that's filled that gap of Noxa since the early days. And I have some numbers here I'll even pull up to tee this up, right? Shout out AJC, who's been bull posting this hard. But here's some of the numbers for Pawns. And of course, AJC is one of the people promoting it, as well as Oogle, who we've had on the show before. But look at some of these numbers. 53,000 launches, $300 million in volume, $340,000 in protocol revenue, 2.65 million, 2,650,000 paid out to creators, and it's just getting started. So like clearly Pawns has taken the lion's share of attention. You can see here over 200 million in all-time Pawns volume, over 50,000 launches. And of course, AJC does a lot of the mapping out. AJC at Blockworks, previously Masari. Of course, Masari was acquired by Blockworks, does a lot of this mapping, comparing it to Pump Fund. Okay, well, if you annualize out some of Pawns numbers and revenues, you account for the buybacks, blah, blah, blah. This is trading at a severely compressed like price to earnings ratio. So maybe a mispriced trade here. And of course, we've seen this just trending up and up and up over the last weekend. And, I'll even pull it up real quick so you guys can see the chart because it is beautiful. It's a work of art. So just to give you some context, and we'll pull up our boy Ozzy, this is the chart. Again, just slow grinding. I remember when I launched back here, everyone was saying, this is what's kind of going to be what fills Nox's shoes. I think it was a little early to say that back then, but it clearly has. It's at $15 million right now, and that chart just could not be any more pretty. So with that said, hopefully that gives you guys a bit of the lore here. Let's pull up Ozzy. We're going to get his direction, what he thinks is going to happen with Robinhood for the long term, how these guys are positioning to continue to dominate and take the lion's share of the volumes and launches on Robinhood, and like where the token comes into it. Because if you have all this money, but then no token value accrual, again, it's just a meme coin. So without further ado, Ozzy from Pawns. Ozzy, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It is going well, man. It's a pleasure to have you. Is this the first stream you've been coming on, or?
Actually, no. I've done plenty in the past for Roots. So this is the first one for Pawns. So yeah.
Okay, interesting. We'll have to get the lore there for that. But Ozzy, maybe you could do us a favor and introduce yourself. Really excited to get into what you built with Pawns here.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, my name is Ozzy. Been in crypto for a very, very long time now. We're close to a decade now. So yeah, I call myself an unk all the time. Been through all the stages of a cycle, of course. And yeah, I've been full time in crypto since the end of 2023. Decided to build Roots, and initially it was a DeFi project on Barachain. Eventually migrated over to Base and later on Tempo and Canton. And yeah, been working basically on that for the past 2 years. What else is there?
And what was Root?
Roots was it was a CDP protocol. So collateral depositions. And it was on Barachain. And then once, like obviously Barachain lost its traction, we decided to pivot and, like build around payments. So what Roots eventually became afterwards was, how like merchants are always paying like 1 to 3% at every checkout to Visa and MasterCard.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that seems quite unfair here. And I think we need a relief there. And, since we have the technology to do that, let me just go ahead and build it. So I did that, and we're still working on it. There's a lot of work. Obviously, like the payment section or like the payment sector in crypto is pretty competitive, or like in the fintech world in general. So yeah, I've been working on that a lot. And then, yeah, I saw this opportunity to launch Pawns, and I can go very, very deep into the lore of like how we got here.
Yeah, I mean, look, we got 45 minutes.
Yeah,
So
all good.
I definitely want to get it all.
Yeah, so it was funny. It was funny because I was on a call with friends, and we were, like just trenching on Robinhood. We saw, they launched their chain, and it was exciting because we saw a lot of coins just run up, right? And it was
generational.
Yeah, exactly. It was just shocking because it was like, like people used to trench on Solana, and now we are back on EVM, because it's exciting because I come from a time where we used to trench on EVM, right? So it was very cool to see. And many of my friends are EVE maxis, and they're like, oh, this is so cool. I feel like, back in the old days. And now we have all this technology that comes with it, right? Like Launchpads and, like better DEXs and so on. So we don't have to add liquidity ourselves. It's all just one click at this point. So it was cool to see. And I was like, okay, this is quite nice. And a friend of mine, he just hit me up. He was like, hey, dude, like, I'm trying to buy this Noxa coin. And I was like, what? Like, what is Noxa, And he was like, oh, it's his Launchpad. And I looked at it. I was like, okay, whatever, And he was like, yeah, like there's no way to bridge over to DBK chain, which is the chain of DBank. So I was like, okay, let me help you. Like I'm pretty sure like I can find the contracts, and I'll just build you the interface for it. And yeah, it just took me like, I don't know, like
Jeez,
6 hours. Yeah, like 6 hours.
You're a good friend to have.
Yeah,
just build you a custom interface for your degeneracy at the earliest stages.
I mean, dude, look, it was a good buying opportunity then, and yeah, like people texted me saying, hey, like I want to use this. Can I use it? Is it safe? I was like, yeah, sure. Like go ahead, use it. And it was, I think Noxa was trading at like $6 or something, and eventually pumped all the way to 18 once I actually released the bridge. So yeah, I was shocked to see that, and I thought this might be like a good opportunity, because we're looking at Pump Fund and its valuation, and then we're looking at Noxa leading the chain at this point for any launches that is happening.
Also,
right?
safe to say, Noxa was just pretty shit in general.
Well, I don't want to comment on that. But yeah, it like the front end did look vibe coded as hell. Like I don't want to say like we are any better, but I'm just someone who's like really prioritizing UI UX flows. So I think for me, like obviously my product looks good to me. It might not look good to others, but I'll just leave it up to them. But yeah, Noxa did like it came with its flaws. I don't know how long they've been around. I didn't, like dig deep into that, but it was just, like nice to see in general, like the token being undervalued. It was trading at like 12 million or something back then. So yeah, and then a friend hit me up and said, hey, like they disabled all launches. And I was like, hey, like let me just dig into the contracts because maybe I can just launch it directly through the contracts and just build an interface for it because their domain was gone, right? So I tried that and it was disabled. So I was like, all right, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do now, right? And he was like, can you not just build it yourself? And
Good
I was
friend.
like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. So that's essentially what I did, and I think the turnaround time there was like 10 or 12 hours. I didn't sleep that night. Took a quick nap, woke up again, and then I was like, hey, like, should I really push this out? Because like, to me, this is a really big step, like going into production, and I was just not sure if I should do it. Plus, I have Roots on the side, right? Like, Roots is my baby; it will always be my baby. But I don't want to like just push that away. And what if it really does take off? Like, it's just going to consume most of my time. So yeah, I just ended up doing it, and I do have like a strong, or like I would say like a lot of the like CT people, they know me, they've seen me around, and I do have a lot of followers who like are pretty known. So I don't know how it led to like this moment. Maybe it's because the people wanted to see someone see someone who has like a reputation and who wouldn't just run away with the treasury or something like that. I don't know what it was, or maybe people just genuinely like the product. So yeah, that's basically the lore. I don't know how we got here. Like, I talk to my team every day. I'm like, dude, how did we get here? But I guess here we are.
Well, that's a crazy story. I mean, but we always talk about how important products that come out of necessity are, and that's exactly what Pawns was. I mean, everyone was scrambling for like what is going to be the thing that fills Knox. I think we even saw like a meaningful dip in Robinhood chain launches for like the 2 days Knox was down. Okay, so let's walk through it. You guys, had this issue. You filled the gap here. Okay, Pawn starts taking off a little bit, right? People start launching, volume start picking up. Maybe walk me through what happened from that point to today and where we're at in terms of like some numbers and maybe all that good stuff.
What happened? I honestly don't know what happened. I was like just trying to fix a bunch of stuff, like since the turnaround time was so low. Obviously it came with bugs, and obviously also FUD. So I had to tackle that. I like barely slept, or like me and my team, we barely slept over the past 4 or 5 days. So every night is just 5 hours of sleep and then back to work basically. So between then and now, it's just been like making sure everything is running smoothly, and that's about it.
Can we talk a little bit about the team? You said me and my team. Did you start this solo and then kind of pick up some other devs along the way, or what does the team look like?
Yeah, it's just me solo deving still. So on the dev side, it's just me. And then I onboarded a BD whose name is Baku, working with him. And then obviously I have a lot of people who are like advising and saying, hey, Ozzy, you need to do this. Ozzy, you need to do that. So I'm just letting them advise me, because to me, this is like completely new. I've never launched a Launchpad. So yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, with that being said, I want to talk about, I guess, direction that you think Robinhood Chain is going to go, because you have this Launchpad now in Robinhood Chain. Obviously, I'm assuming you're going to stick it through and just keep iterating on it at this point. Where do you think Robinhood goes? Like, is this a sticky Launchpad, or is this a sticky chain? Do we think Robinhood lasts? Do we think it becomes a home for memes or RWAs or both? Just kind of want to get your directional thinking there.
If you ask me for my own opinion here, I personally believe that, since I've been around for a long time and I've seen cycles play out, every cycle there's like a new player, right? With Solana losing the traction here and losing all this volume to Robinhood, I do think that there might be a case where, like Robinhood really becomes the chain where you trench on moving forward. and it will probably also become the home for RWA tokens. So I think that that's just personally what I see. So if this is really it, then Robinhood might have kicked off the new bull cycle, I would say, like the bull run in this cycle, or like we're close to it, in my opinion. And I'm obviously like very bullish, and obviously also this is really, really biased, right? Because like I'm building a Robinhood chain and I want it to be successful, because this would imply that, Pons is going to be successful as well. So we'll see how it goes, but like from what I'm seeing right now, it really does look good, and I really hope that they don't fumble it, because we've seen it in the past where chains actually got a lot of traction and then they just fumble it. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you're spot on. I mean, again, these numbers are looking really good. Where do we go from here with Pons? Obviously it's going to keep continuing to grow. We hope Robinhood sticks. Is there some sort of token flywheel mechanism that's built in? Obviously we see Pump Fund does the 50% buyback. And I think, largely people are looking to figure out what kind of value accrual happens to the token here. Have you guys thought about that? Are you continuing to iterate on that? Would love to understand.
So yeah, moving forward, we're going to be migrating to V2 hopefully this week, because there are a few issues that we want to patch, like economically speaking, because there are a few things that just like bug me personally. For the flywheel itself, I mean, you guys can look at the docs. We currently have a 80-20 split on the buybacks, so we're going to pursue that, and we're going to reiterate wherever necessary.
Got you. 80-20 split, and then that 20%, is that just going towards continued development, salaries, all that stuff?
Exactly. Mostly infrastructure and salaries, yeah. And of course, like legal, because the more we grow, I think there will be a need for more, on the legal side.
That's a fair take. What type of infrastructure do you guys have to invest in? Kind of curious what some of the back end piping looks like.
I don't really want to talk about like the infrastructure in the back end, because we're still working on that at the moment. So yeah, happy to chat about that later on, but still a lot of things that needs fixing and adjustments, making it more efficient than ever.
Yep. Why do you think people chose Pons as like the Launchpad over the other ones? I mean, we've seen, again, we talk about the Launchpad wars. There's clearly a war going on right now, and people are trying to take your, eat your lunch. What do you think sets Pons apart? How do you guys continue to corner the market and dominate through, as long as Robinhood exists? What's your positioning there?
I think, like I said before, I think it was the reputation thing, having a Launchpad that is actually built by a legitimate founder. So I think that was like one of the first things that, one of the first things that I personally saw, or like that I received as feedback, saying, hey, like, we know you're a legit builder, and we know that you're not going to shut off the domain and just run away with the treasury. I know for a fact that, like, obviously they tried to do that. I'm regaining access to the OG domain as we speak. But yeah, like we're just going to continue operations, right? And regarding like other projects trying to eat our lunch, like I'm not concerned, and I think competition is really good because it just like helps us all innovate and continue to build unique products within the Robinhood chain. So I'm like encouraging everyone to just like work harder and things like that. So yeah, no, I'm in that sense, like I'm not concerned. I'm more than happy to assist for assist builders that we have currently building on the Launchpad or outside of the Launchpad. Like I'm always happy to exchange words with other developers, whether they're competitors or not. So yeah, that's my take on that.
That's really interesting. Great answer, by the way. Yeah. So, with that, you mentioned Robinhood specifically is having some more innovations around the Launchpads. We're seeing a lot of people step in and do stock paired tokens, right? For example, maybe a meme coin paired with NVIDIA or whatever it might be. You see some of these new offerings happening pretty much exclusively on Robinhood. Are you guys trying to make offerings like that as well, or build out offerings where it's not just, paired against Ethereum or USDC?
We're like, it's probably going to happen this week where we will have custom pairings. I'm a fan of having a simple Launchpad and not over complicating it, so we're gonna roll out our own version of like pairings, and then users can pair it with whatever they want basically. So that's definitely planned.
So how do you do that? You're choosing the simplistic route, right? Have a simplistic Launchpad, very little barrier to entry, very low friction. You kind of have one or two options people can launch and go. You have to kind of thread this needle and walk this tightrope of keeping it really simple and low friction, and also having like enough offerings to where people feel like they're getting what works for their platform. Because we know a lot of tokens are very unique in the way that there's different offerings that they have. There's not one size that fits all shoes. So how do you guys toe that line to where you keep it extremely simple, but also giving enough offerings to builders and developers to want to choose pawns?
Look, man, I come from a time where having support from other teams was like very rare. Like if you're like building on a certain chain and like the foundation isn't backing you, that was like considered very bearish. I want to do the opposite of that. I want to be approachable. I want developers to talk to me about like what they're building, and like I've been responding to DMs all weekend long. I am also a firm believer of owning the infrastructure. So we do own the infrastructure right now, and we're just encouraging people to build on top of it. And I think that, like with this approach, we don't really necessarily have to, expand the product or like the core offering itself. We can just pass it on to other builders and support them. And, like whether it's like TG bots or like maybe I want to have a more retail approach to all this, like I'll just let other builders build it, and I'll just be the support in the back. And yeah, I think that's like kind of the approach that we're taking here.
Got you. This is an interesting approach. I mean, we see Launchpads try to support the ecosystem in a big way, almost like some sort of incubation and acceleration vertical here. Are you guys going to do that for a lot of the people you have come on? I mean, for example, I think back to Believe, in the Solana days, they had like the first ICM Launchpad. And one of the things they actually did well was give a lot of offerings to the ecosystem. Hey, if you launch with Believe, you have, credits that are made available to you. You have, inference and compute that's made available to you. You obviously as a builder yourself, what real builders want and need. Are you looking to make some of those offerings available to people that launch through pawns, or have you thought more about like how you can further assist these builders?
I have not yet. I got to be honest here, because I haven't really thought about all that yet. But if there is a way we can help builders, and if it's like one of those ways that we can assist them, then I'm sure we'll help them in that sense. But right now we have no plans for that at all, because like again, we're a small team. Like we really need to fight through the wave of new users first before we go and help others.
Got it. And by the way, your Twitter looks really good. Like it is very professional. I want to talk about this BD that you hired. What is like their main day to day? And I guess it's still early. They're probably just finding their footing, and you're still figuring it out together. But what's the main role of that BD that you've hired, and what are you seeing them do on a day to day right now?
Just basically collabing with a bunch of other teams. We're getting a lot of like requests and feedback and so on, and he's just basically responsible for that, jumping from one group chat to another, hopping on calls and so on. So that's like what the BD is currently doing. And and I'm just mostly on the dev side. I obviously also do help on the BD side, because there are a lot of technical questions which I'm happy to answer, but for the most part, that's just what either advisors or the BDs are doing for the most part.
Got you. And Josh, I don't mean to hog it. If you ever want to jump in here, feel free
to. I actually have a question. Do you want to finish your line of questioning, and I'll ask it? It's more about the interface itself.
Maybe I'll finish one more question here, because you mentioned something earlier, Ozzy, about this domain situation, and I think largely unaware of this. Could you maybe explain what this? I mean, call it domain FUD, or I don't know how you want to label it, but could you explain the situation regarding the domain and like regaining access?
Yeah, so we actually made the same mistake as Noxa did, because the guy who launched it has like Dev2 KYC or something in his bio, which I'm like just assuming that he's very anon and wants to stay private. When we launched Pawns itself, we also used an anonymous service in order to obviously hide our identity, right? Because like I don't want my name and everything and my address and everything on the internet. So even though now it's like the case, like I use the legitimate provider, obviously Cloudflare now. So with that being said, like the domain itself, the old one was basically running through another provider, which is offering this like add-on service. And if you use those cheap services, it's like really, really hard to get a hold on them. You know, like they don't have a hotline or whatever to, you know, like contact them in case of abuse or whatever. So I tried to do that. You know, I tried to call a hotline and I was like, hey, like I need your help. And the answer was just, yeah, you need to contact the provider that you used to register the domain. And they were offline for the weekend, so we were not able to contact them. But today we got a hold of them. We're in the process of recovering it. And from what I'm hearing, or from what I heard, is that it was reported to be a crypto scam or something. And that's why the domain was shut down for abuse. And then, yeah. Now we have a new domain on Cloudflare. So whatever happens, I always have someone that I can just approach, you know, and yeah, I think that was also the issue that Noxa had, but I think the communication here was better because I think within the first 10 minutes of the domain shutting down, I was already tweeting about it on Twitter.
Got you. So nothing to worry about there.
No, it's pawnsfamily.com will be the main domain, and the other one we're just going to redirect.
Got it. Josh, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, so I wanted to just go through some of this, and I have no position in thinking cat. It's just one that I thought was funny. First off, maybe GMB is asking if you have any pets for the obvious.
Dude, I've been getting this question quite a lot. I do have a pet, yeah, but I'm not gonna disclose any name because I know what they're gonna do with it.
Okay, what's the animal? Is it a goldfish, a shark?
No, I have a dog, but the picture itself, like I accidentally linked it before via like a Roots demo video. So yeah, that's about it.
All right, maybe lore there, But on this, like, walk me through it. You have this burn mechanism at the top. On the right hand side, you have a like holders chat, I believe, if I'm correct with that. Can you just walk through some of the core launch mechanics and features here that you know, either from a trader perspective or a deployer perspective?
So someone says stay silent. No, it's
For real.
The goal here was to really keep the interface simple, right? So what you're seeing right now on this specific token is just you see the chart. You can like select the different time frames and so on. You have a chat, which was also a priority to me because I wanted to make sure that people can communicate with each other. You also have a heat map. If you click on it, you will see like buy and sell orders that are routing through the V3 pools. And yeah, and then you can obviously see the volume, the 24-hour volume day, all-time high and so on. So those are just the simple chart features. I didn't want to just slap trading view on it and be like, hey, I'll call it a day. I wanted to really make it beautiful and a more unique experience than what we're all used to. So that's kind of what I did there.
And you've achieved that. This is actually quite nice. One of the better charting softwares within a Launchpad that I've seen. Sorry, on the heat map real quick, I did try and click it. I don't know if just, you know, my computer tends to lag with these kind of products and streaming open, but what does it show again on the heat map?
It will show the buy and limit orders. If you go back and go to pawns, you should see way more because I think that this token specifically doesn't have that. It's just loading 1 sec. It's like fetching, or if you click refresh, it will work.
All right.
Yeah, the indexing and everything is quite slow, so you might have to refresh. I'm still working on that, by the way.
Yeah, honestly, my probably my computer is like more the lag source than anything. But okay. Anyways, and again, there's no nothing here specific. It's just the first one I clicked on. Okay, I had another question, but I think this is maybe talk about this burn mechanism. Is there like a set fee that you have when you go to deploy a token? What are the parameters that deployers can actually adjust to kind of dial in the type of launch that they want? Like, can they bundle their own supply for the sake of like owning a chunk of it, not necessarily to be a bundler or anything like that. But like, what are the mechanisms that deployers can use? Can they buy their own supply? Can they get the first kind of block in? Is it released on a bonding curve? What's the initial market cap? All those details, as much as you can share there.
Yeah, so it doesn't work via bonding curve. What it does is it just similar to Nox, it's just directly deploying into UniV3 pools, which is going to change with V2 of Pawns, because there we will be utilizing most likely V4. So the way how it works right now is you basically just deploy directly into the pool. You can do a dev buy, obviously, and for the first 2 blocks, we're minimizing the buys to just 2%. I'm aware that, like there are a lot of people who are just, like trying to bundle their own coin and so on. And obviously, like everyone has to do their own research, right? Like I can't help with that much. Like I'm trying to mitigate it as much as we can, but like that's, like the people will always find a way. That's kind of what I learned throughout all these years in crypto. Yeah, so that's something that they can do. And then the fee split is 70-30, meaning that the creators are getting 70% of the fees and 30% goes back to the protocol, in which we then utilize the 80-20 split for the buybacks. And the token creators, they're getting their own token as fees back to their wallets, which they can claim, or it's wrapped ETH for the most part, which is obviously way more interesting because you don't need to dump on your own users. Or
is there any sort of like curated launches or launches that you guys know who the deployers are? Like Ika says there is a compute project on Pawns. I don't know if you have any thoughts on who, like anything, like give us some notable launches that are on the platform. I mean, I'm seeing it for the first time, so that's the context.
Yeah, like we know some of the people who deploy it. Like we're helping teams, obviously, and I have teams reach out to me all the time saying, "Hey, we're going to deploy it today." Like I know who's behind what project, and either it's docs or not docs, but like I don't want to just go ahead and say, "Hey, you should check out this and that," because then people will just go, and ape it, and I don't really want to do that. We're really trying to make sure that we're not taking sides. We want to treat everyone equally, and I think it's also important, like from my point of view, because I've seen it in the past where like builders are not being treated in an equal way. And I want to change that. I want to make sure that everyone is getting my attention in some shape or form. And yeah, I've seen a lot of good launches, like a lot of good projects. I really love to see builders actually utilizing Pawns in a way where they use it for their legit projects and instead of just memes. So it's really cool to see, and I really want to support them. I'm actually thinking about doing a builders chat just so we can all chat together and like explore different options. And yeah.
I wanna get a clean clip here, just talking about the token and how it fits into the whole system. You mentioned a 70-30 split on all fees, and then 80-20 split on that 30% to holders. Could you maybe explain again what that revenue split looks like and how it ties into the tokenomics, and then maybe also detail some of the numbers recently on just what kind of fees you've generated, how many launches, volumes, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I haven't checked the most recent numbers, but I guess you can see it here on the Doom. Also, shout out to Adam. He's an incredible guy. I asked him for like a few tweaks on the dashboard, and he immediately implemented it. So big shout out to him. I haven't really seen the latest numbers. I think we're approaching 60K launches now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Almost 300 million in volume or something. I don't know. So yeah, it's looking good. It's looking fruitful, but I'm not really looking too much into the numbers because honestly, like I'm just, I have just too much on my plate right now. So I'm trying to make sure that I focus on the more important side of things. Obviously, numbers are important, but yeah, just not my priority right now.
EA has a good question here. How do you think Pawns will differentiate itself from veteran launch pads like Virtuals and Banker?
Honestly, I don't have an answer to that. I think that the other veteran launch pads have their own, types of people or like types of users on their platform. So whatever reason you have to go and launch on virtuals or bank or whatever, you will probably have a reason to do that. And Pawns is like, you know, this thing that we just lifted up from you know, out of nothing, right, out of scratch, and people were able to see and witness it. It grew to fruition, or like fruition. What's the word there again?
Fruition. You were right the first time, but fruition was good too.
So yeah, no, they've seen it grow, and I'm you know, like, I think that the main thing that is going to make us different from other launchpads is just how we communicate to the community, or like how we talk to the community, how we, you know, like keep things transparent and just listen to feedback. I think like all I did all weekend long was just, you know, like go through feedback, like what can we implement, what can we fix, and I think that's about it. Because like if I go and talk to other founders of other launchpads, I don't even know if I'm ever gonna get a reply or not. I'm not saying like I'm super like I'm really like replying to every single one, but I'm really trying to make sure that everyone is being heard.
Got you. A question here from Crypto Jones, which is a valid question. Of course, we have a lot of guests on the show, and I think based on the history of crypto, people are kind of tired of getting burned by anonymous devs. Now, I know you're not anonymous, but you're trying to be discreet, as Ika mentions here. But what do you think about this anonymity aspect? Is there some point where you're going to try to be more forward-facing, or any answer for the people that are wondering why you're maybe not doxxed right now?
Yeah, no, I am doxxed. If you really dig deep into my Twitter, you will probably find something, or just, you know, like the past of like Roots itself. You will find me, and I'm doxxed. I just don't want to like go ahead and show myself, especially when running a Launchpad, because like the type of stuff that people find is scary. And they're really digging deep into like my history and whatever. Like I'll let everyone do whatever they want, obviously, but like at some point, like it's just getting scary, where I feel like kind of, you know, like worried about my privacy, or like my life itself. So I would rather just, you know, like, you know, be like this, you know, like not show my face, talk to you guys. It's no secret who I am. Like you can look it up. I have interviews and so on. Like you feel free to, you know, like dig through Roots itself. But like moving forward, I will probably not show my face anymore.
All good. We don't want another Allen house. I want to ask though, you know, you're starting to generate some significant revenues. I think, like, do you have a 1% fee on the tokens traded? What's the fee model?
Yeah, it's 1%. Then obviously Uniswap takes a small cut, and then the rest goes to us and the creators.
Right. So on, you know, 200 million volume, that's a pretty good amount of money. It's starting to generate some significant revenues. Congratulations for that success, by the way.
Thank you.
How do you think about like use of funds there? Are these like things you're putting back into the token? Do you think it's better to build out like a little bit of a team? You mentioned a BD hire recently. Like, is he attracting launches? Is that his role? Or yeah, where do you see kind of this initial capital? You have this initial excitement. Obviously, volumes can dry up often, so you want to build for that time. But how do you think of, you know, kind of keeping this momentum going and the use of funds there?
I think the most important thing right now is really community alignment. And if the community is really supportive of this token, then we should definitely return that favor. And, you know, like it's just really been an honor. And it's still, like I said before, it feels surreal. In terms of like the revenue, again, I haven't looked at the recent numbers. I'm just, you know, like putting everything aside for now. Like I'll probably find a good use for it later on, but definitely like hirings moving forward, because we do need a bigger team for sure. But also, as you said, like things can dry up, and if my theory really plays out, then the revenue will also increase alongside with it. But I don't want to plan for the future right now, because given the fact that a lot of the things in crypto are unfortunately very short-lived, and I just want to prepare for every possible scenario before I go ahead and, you know, like make plans for it.
So with that, then, how are you guys thinking about a roadmap? I mean, people want to know what comes next. What are you guys building for? You said things change quick, and we know this to be the case. We have so many devs on today, and we asked them for like a 3-week, 1 month, 6 month roadmap, and it's really hard to go any further than that because with AI advancements, with technology, with how fast crypto moves, it's really difficult to do that. But if you have to kind of give me an idea of directionally where Pawns is headed, what you guys are most focused on, most excited about, I'd be curious to kind of get your take on a bit of that roadmap idea.
Yeah, so the roadmap for now is really to fix the previous issues that we were facing on the contract side of things, because there are a few adjustments that we need to do economically speaking. So that's what we're going to fix with V2, making sure that, like the community is happy with those changes as well, of course. But moving forward, what I really want to see, and we haven't really, we haven't made plans around it yet. I was just talking to the team about it, and they thought it was interesting. If the whole thesis plays out of Robinhood being like the chain to trench on moving forward, and obviously them having a good market share in terms of like retail trading on there, right? Once we have like those meme coins on Robinhood, maybe in the future or something, I think it would, like lead to more volume, and it would allow retail to obviously invest easier into those meme coins, hopefully also early on, instead of, like somewhere in the billions and then getting burned. So I think for this cycle, like the upcoming cycle, what I really want to prioritize is to make sure that retail gets their hands on, like being able to launch a token, being able to invest in a token very early on. And I'm like personally very, very bullish on, like the first aspect of those plans that we have, which is, again, like just retail being able to launch and so on. And we got to make it easier than ever. Like, I don't think retail is, like interested in signing up in, like 5-6 different platforms and then just going ahead and, trying to learn this, or like have this learning curve of, like deploying tokens and so on. So I think that the retail stuff is really interesting. And I've had people talk to me being like, hey, like, what if retail could launch through X and through like this and that? And I don't want to dig too deep into the plans here, because it's really interesting. But yeah, retail should have access to those type of things. So yeah. A lot goes to it, but yeah.
That was actually my last question, was kind of how you see the more traditional Robinhood user kind of looking at these type of launch pads. But I'll maybe ask from a developer standpoint. I mean, Robinhood Crypto has been pretty open in supporting their developer ecosystem. Do you see a pathway for Pawns to be, recognized by the Robinhood crypto team, or have some sort of, kind of collaboration? Like, is that possible, do you think?
It is possible. Not really priority at the moment, because like, again, I think that I personally think that if you do need the recognition of a foundation in order for your product to be successful, then it is never meant to happen. So I'm happy that we're seeing, like this deep PMF that we're having with Pawns right now. If it happens, it's cool. Like, I would love to meet the Robinhood team, but it's not like a requirement for me to keep on going. I'm just going to, keep running the show as usual, even without them. So I'm not really looking too much into that. And then
one more maybe popped up really quick, and I want to get your take on this. We saw Brian Armstrong switch his PFP and then switch it back. People are kind of unhappy with that. I don't know how you feel about the whole base versus Robinhood situation, or if there's a take there, but thoughts on any of that?
Look, I personally think like the liquidity rotation is like a funny thing. What else? I think the whole PFP change thing, I saw the tweet earlier today, like this morning, where he was saying, oh, like, I don't know the team, like I'm not behind that token and so on. It's just funny to see, because like what are you expecting from, like a bunch of trenchers? Like, you change your PFP and then, like everyone is just hopping on that token. It just seemed silly to me. And yeah, maybe it's irresponsible, maybe it's not. I don't know. Like, I don't want to be the judge of that. I'm just, like, I just think it's funny. And of course, like, again, if we have those liquidity rotations, it's good, you know, like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to the trader where they want to trade and where they see the potential. But I think like most of the attention right now is really on Robinhood and not necessarily on base. I think like personally, like base is more really for TradFi and like more serious projects rather than meme coins. I don't really think base was really a meme coin chain itself. I think it has always been either Solana, or now that we're seeing it on Robinhood, it could be Robinhood next. But yeah, that's just my personal my personal view here.
With that, Aussie too, clearly like you're a trencher. You were very early on Noxa, right? You built some of the bridges. Like you were here tapped in on the pulse the whole time. Do you think that gives you an edge to having a Launchpad and kind of knowing what the trench is like, what narratives are hot, what's important? You know, I guess a lot of founders we see in the space are not traders first, and they don't really know and have a good idea of how to cater to the trenches. Do you think you differ from that because you have this background?
Honestly, I don't really think so, because I myself, I wasn't really trenching much. I was in the trenches sometimes from time to time, given like the market, you know, like opening up, you know, volumes in that sector. But most of the time I was just heads down building on roots, so I wasn't really around. But I do see my friends trench all the time, so I'm learning from them. But yeah, I don't really think it's an edge. It's more like just, you know, being able, or like being open to feedback and being able to execute it quickly.
That's what it comes down to. Quick execution, iteration, got to be on your toes. So I'm sure you've had very little sleep recently, but we appreciate you coming on and giving us the time of day, Aussie.
Thank you, guys.
Have you bought any tokens on your Launchpad specifically yet?
Josh really wants you to talk about it.
No, dude, like I'm not gonna say anything. Yeah, because obvious reasons. Like
yeah, of course. Hey, I know I gotta represent the chat. Okay, I know people.
Yeah, all good, all good.
If you want to dox your wallet and just, or take a screenshot of like a few things that you're holding and send it, I think you'd make a lot of people really happy.
I am on FOMO because like I love the app. I love the social aspect of it. But I promised myself on FOMO to only really trade perps, because, you know, like I don't have any influence over that, right?
There you go.
Unless it's like Pawn's perp, but I don't see that happen anytime soon. But yeah, I don't think I have influence over a hype, long or short.
Right.
You know?
Maybe not yet, dude. Hey, who knows if this gets big
well
enough.
yeah, it might happen one day, but yeah, in the meantime, I'm just gonna have fun doing what
hopefully.
Yeah.
Ozzy, well, we appreciate you. I would agree. Don't lean into these guys in the chat asking about a cat name and what tokens are holding. No good. It's no good for a founder. Nonetheless, appreciate you, bro. Talk soon.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.
All right, peace. All right, that was Pawns, the #1 Launchpad on Robinhood right now. Pretty interesting. Ozzy seemed like a pretty cool guy. Clearly a veteran builder. I mean, he whipped stuff up pretty quick. The whole thing spawned from Noxa basically just being inaccessible. His boy being like, yo, there's some edge over here. Let's buy this token. There's no bridge. Build one. And he's like, I got you. So, you know, pretty good conversation. What do you guys think? Do we think Pawns is sticky?
Love the chat. Everyone in the chat asking about different stuff. He never, can never fade the chat.
Yeah, Josh was really trying to bad work for you guys.
I'm just trying to help you guys out, trying to get.
I'm like, Ozzy, please don't say and don't answer any of these questions.
No, he did great. I mean, he knows what he's doing. So
yeah, he does. So we should see. I mean, again, like it was a very much product market fit. The door was wide open. Noxa went down. Pawns stepped in. Pawns is clearly leading in terms of volume right now. Can it keep it up? Is it sustainable? That's up for debate. We'll see. But it was a great conversation. Yeah, that will be interesting as well. We have stockbrokers coming on Wednesday, Thursday, one of these days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know. So really cool.
Yeah, I like the chat, but yeah.
Dang, we forgot to ask.
Platform.
How can people reach out to him and talk to him? We had someone in the chat asking about that. I don't know. It seems like he's very responsive. So just start by DMing, I guess.
Yeah.
And feel free to hit us up too. We can, I don't know. We can maybe make an introduction. Don't want to flood him, but
yeah.
Yep.
Next segment. Let's tee it up.
Next segment, let's tee it up, Josh, indeed, because we got David in the waiting room. We got an interesting conversation. I think this one's really fun. We've covered TCG deeply on this show, right? Obviously, notoriously covered Collector Crypt at the lows. Had them
8
on multiple
mil at
times.
the lows.
They sponsored the show, become good friends of ours. This is something a little bit different. This is Rip Cars, okay? So just like you have graded TCG gotcha platforms, how I'm understanding this is it's the same thing for like Matchbox cars. I mean, like if you guys were a child at any point in your life, a male child, I guess I should clarify, maybe some females too, you knew Matchbox cars were like the thing. You'd go and see them at the store, you'd pick them up. You know, you maybe had like the car to put the little Matchbox cars in. Like it was a whole thing. Josh, were you ever a Matchbox kid?
You know what? Everyone has had a lot of Hot Wheels cars, but I never saw them as collectible per se, like Pokemon cards. And I'm just trying to. This is on Foodtard, right? .io.
Yeah, this is on MetaDAO's permissionless platform. Of course, MetaDAO just launched Credible, extremely successful curated launch. This is now permissionless, so the community is gonna be able to raise, kind of get behind it. Hopefully, it hits its targets. But you know what? What's nice about like Matchbox cars and like these older toys is they were actually created like high quality. Like they're metal.
Yes.
They're not falling apart on you. You know, if a kid throws it at a wall, it's probably not going to just explode everywhere. So I don't know. I don't know enough about the Matchbox car market to like have a take right now, but hopefully at the end of this, after David educates us a little bit, we have a good gauge on everything. So with that said, we good to shoot?
Yeah, let's do it. I was going to try and pull up their page on and David, if you have the foodtard.io page and you can send it to us in the private chat there, we'll bring it up on screen. Because I am looking for this.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll do that here in a second.
Okay, not yet. All right, all good.
Okay. All right, in the works. All right, guys. With that being said, let's have David come and talk it up with us. David, founder of Rip Cards. How are you doing? Cars.
Hey, super excited to be here, guys. Thank you for inviting.
Yes, we're excited to talk. I want to start with you. Just your background, then how you found Futarchy in general, Futardio, this whole MetaDAO ownership community, and then we'll talk about Rip Cars. With that being said, David, please help us get to know you a little bit better. Give us a brief introduction.
Sure, guys. So I've been building Raptor businesses before. I still own some companies in my home country in Georgia. So just as an example, we are the biggest Twilio-like SMS senders in the country of Georgia. And we do 120 million messages every month. So we pretty much have 70% of the market. Like utility companies, neobanks, e-commerce companies, all of them route all of their customer like CRM communication through our gateway. But I'm not like involved on day-to-day basis. I'm just on the board there. And the largest shareholder of the company. So that's one company that I own in Georgia. And then another one is an engineering company in data science that we have together with our Israeli partners. It's a joint venture between like a couple of Georgian co-founders and Israeli co-founders. And it mainly works on this Israeli market. We have over 40 senior level engineers in that company. And like even before that, we've been running a machine learning company before AI was cool. Like since 2017, we've been developing a lot of machine learning algorithms. And my co-founder at Rip Cars is actually, he's been working on machine learning, I think like since 2012. Like for example, in our home country, back then he was working for the government, and like the license plate recognition system for the surveillance cameras has been developed by his team. Wow. He's kind of OG machine learning guy. Yeah.
So you're a bit of a serial entrepreneur. You have a bunch of different companies that you're a part of and working on. What would you say, I guess, your most valuable trait is, right? Obviously, you bring a lot of value to these companies. Maybe it's relationships, maybe it's just vision and direction. But
engineering.
Engineering. Like, where do you kind of step in for these companies, or do you wear a ton of different hats?
Well, with those companies, I'm not involved anymore in day-to-day. But in general, I think the most valuable trait from my side is that once I like something and I want to build it, I just like go really deep into it. So right now it's like Hot Wheels. I think like during the last month, I spent like hundreds of hours, literally, just day and night, being on Whatnot and eBay and talking with collectors and meeting them in real life, just kind of getting as much information as possible so that I can get myself to the expert level in this niche category, right? And then like once you have this expert knowledge in a niche industry, then you can actually build a lot of ecosystem tools around it.
They say the riches are in the niches. Do you believe that to be true? Focusing on these niches where not a lot of attention is. I mean, again, you kind of have two sides to it. The TAM is a bit smaller in general, but would you rather be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond? Kind of comes back to the age-old question. Any way that you look at that?
Yeah, the cool thing about Hot Wheels is that it's not like very niche. So it's like $1.7 billion in primary market, and the secondary market is around $100 million right now. And then if we take a ratio of Pokemon primary to secondary, we expect that Hot Wheels has the potential to go 40x from here, like up to like $4 billion in secondary market. Yeah, so the primary market is already there. It's $1.7 billion, and we expect that the secondary could go up to like $4 billion, and that's like where we want to be the major players. So one is that we want to be the major players in the secondary market, and then like there is no non-existent gacha market for Hot Wheels at all.
Yeah, and I actually want to ask about the difference between Pokemon and Hot Wheels, because if I think about Hot Wheels, people may not have taken them out of the packs. I know a lot of people who kind of kept them in the packages, so they are kind of pristine. Whereas with Pokemon cards, the only way to play the game or really experience the Pokemon was opening the pack itself, which has been a very bad thing to do. Like if you had some of those OG Pokemon packs and you didn't open them, they're very valuable today. Is that a valid kind of dynamic that you see? Like what's the collectability, or what's like the profile of making these items actually collectible?
Yeah, so I would say the main collectability is that it should be unsealed, sealed, and unpacked, basically, right? So the Hot Wheels, as you see it at Target, for example, it usually has a blister pack on it. So the collectible value does actually come from it being in the mint condition. So it shouldn't be opened, right? But then, of course, there are like some very early models, like 1969, 1968, when it's fine if it's opened, if it's fine because there is still value, because there are maybe like only a handful of them on the market. So like if you take a look at the most valuable car, which is like $170,000 last sale price, it's actually unsealed, right? So it's an actual car without a blister pack.
How can we find that car? Do we go to a website, your platform? Can you link us?
1 second.
I want to see what the most valuable car is here. And is it like Pokemon where you know how many were manufactured? Like, is that an element?
I'll send you a Google link, and then maybe you can open it up.
I guess also with this, you mentioned, growth kind of you were projecting it to be like 40x to reach kind of where Pokemon's at. Maybe you could talk me through just like the growth of this market, because it seems like it's established enough to where people are paying attention and there's money in it, but it's early enough to where there's a lot of growth to be had. And you guys seem to be wanting to kind of corner that growth. Am I understanding that correctly? And could you maybe just talk me through some more of your projections?
Sure. So we've been like analyzing eBay sales on day-to-day basis, right? So we see that there are like over 4,000 Hot Wheels, collector-grade Hot Wheels being sold every day. The volumes right now are around $170,000, and we see that it actually keeps growing, right? And then we talk with collectors, and they say that their collections have already 5x'd throughout the last 5 years, right? So there is like even between the collectors, they're like, oh man, it's like overhyped and the collections are going up in value. But I think they do not still see like how much farther it could go, because right now it's still only $100 million secondary market. Like this pink Volkswagen Beach Bomb is valued at $175,000, one of the first cars from Hot Wheels. Yeah.
Wow.
But the person like who bought it, he's like, I'm not gonna sell it below like $1 million. That's like what I read recently. Yeah.
Okay, and what makes this valuable? I mean, like in Pokemon, it's like Charizard and Pikachu and like that, but these are like people like the characters and they're kind of like this nostalgic thing from your childhood that is all consensus to be the most rare, or maybe that this just is the least printed. But for this, it says there's only 2 known to exist. How is this claim accurate? Like, do we know from the manufacturer how many they created of the specific color? Like, what's the dynamic here that makes this specific Volkswagen rare?
All right. Let me start from rarity in general, and then I'll narrow it down to the Volkswagen model.
Okay.
Okay. So with Pokemon, you have a pack and you don't know what's inside, right? Now, with Hot Wheels, a lot of people don't know it, but it's a very similar dynamic that every box that comes to a retail store has 72 cars in it. And out of 72, there is usually one super treasure hunt, right? So if you find it in a store, you can flip it at around $100, maybe $300. Like you buy it at $1 or like 1.2, 1.5. But then if you find it, you can like flip it on the secondary market right away. So like one box contains one super treasure hunt. And then there are usually a couple of normal treasure hunts, which you can flip, let's say at 20, maybe like $50, right? So at Target, whenever they have a restock, you might actually find people, hunters, right there at Target, like, or any other store hunting for these like super treasure hunts and treasure hunts. So the dynamic of the rarity is there. So we have treasure hunts, we have super treasure hunts, then we have chases. There is this like special direction of Hot Wheels, which is called premium cars. But then like within premium cars, you have chases, and these chases could go up to like $500, maybe even more, like depending on a collection. And you know, if you hold it in your hands, it has much better feel. It has a higher weight, much more detailing to it. So we have treasure hunt, super treasure hunt, we have chase, and then we have also RLC, which is Red Line Club, collector special cars, which are available if you have a collector membership on Mattel.com. And those cars have even more detailing to them, and very often they have limited quantities. Let's say it could be only 3,000 cars or like 10,000 cars, right? So you know exactly that there is this limited quantity of cars being issued. The thing with Pokemon cards also is that you don't often know the quantities of all of them. So if you are holding a special card, it's not exactly clear what's the quantity. With RLC, for example, you know that there are like only 7,000 in production. Yeah.
Got it. Sorry, I just lost my co-host, but that's totally fine. Okay, and so did Hot Wheels or Mattel know this back in the day? Like this car was produced in the 90s. Did they have the foresight to have a collector economy? We know with like Yu-Gi-Oh versus Pokemon, for instance, Yu-Gi-Oh just did reprints of the same characters over and over and over again across the years, basically destroying the collectability or the kind of uniqueness. Whereas Pokemon said every year or edition, we're going to change the art so that the original art was rare and not reprinted, you know, the same as it was in 2000 as it was in the 90s. You know, was Hot Wheels the same way? Like, did they have this foresight of collectability at the company level?
Yeah, with Red Line Club, yes. So the Red Line Club was there from the beginning. I mean, it's changing with time, but I think the vision was to maybe like not at the very beginning, because first of all, we need to also mention that Pokemon history starts like around like 1998, right? Like around that time. And then Hot Wheels starts at 1968.
Yes,
basically. So there is a bigger history. Like even the collector base, like I'm meeting, when I talk with collectors, I'm meeting like all the age groups. In fact, like the other day, like last week, I met a collector. He's like 90 years old. He owns a real life like car museum, right? And he was at Target hunting for these purple passion cars. I can link them here as well.
Yes, please.
Purple passion Hot Wheels. Yeah, and what he said is that basically this one. Let me share it with you. Yeah,
we're just trying to help people understand this market as much as you understand it.
so basically he owns like this exact car, and he's hunting all of the, yeah, so he owns like exactly the same car, right, in his museum, and then he's just like buying these cars everywhere, and then reselling them at $100, right? And then he's like, oh yeah, I also give it to my grandchildren because they love playing with it. So this one is like more of like older age car, and there are like people who collect muscle cars or like old time cars. But then there are people who also go for let me show you another one.
Wow, $300 for a Hot Wheels car. Who is spending that money? That's amazing. I mean,
are Matchbox cars and Hot Wheels cars different?
Yeah, so the market for Hot Wheels is much bigger compared to Matchbox. And look, we might add Matchbox gacha at some point as well, right? Yeah, like we don't have we have preference for Hot Wheels for the beginning, but we might add Matchbox at some point. But we see that there is a liquidity with like the liquidity with Hot Wheels is much higher, and that also helps us with understanding the fair market valuation of different cars. So like this one on the screen is a so-called premium chase car, and you would usually see it's reselling at like $500 because people just love Nissan Skyline, like especially the new generation, like people in their like 20s, 30s, they love Nissan Skyline. And this one is like in the gold. So it's very hard to find in stores, and that's why it resells at over $500. But if you find it in a store, you can buy it at $7, right? So that's the thing about it. Yeah. So there is this like kind of like car culture, like even here in the Bay Area, where like there are so many collectors that are selling like some of the collectors. I met a guy who was selling a 20,000 car collection, and man, he sold it in a week, right? Like wow, in a week. Wild. Yeah, so the liquidity is there. Like that's where I realized that there is money to be spent. Like there are people who are chasing bigger lots, and there are like people who are actually buying a lot of high-end cars in this market.
That's crazy. You know, we've started to get a much better understanding, so we appreciate you kind of breaking this down. But I don't think we've actually really talked about what Rip Cars is. You know, you mentioned it's a gacha, but can we kind of talk a little bit more about the offering that you guys are building out?
Sure. So like basically we're gonna most probably have a $25 gacha on the webpage. We might also have a $100 one as well. The idea is that you play the gacha, you get a randomized item from the gacha pool, and then it's backed by a real one in the inventory, in the vault, right? And then you decide whether you want to hold it, whether you want to sell it back to the platform at around 90%, or you might just maybe list it at some point on the secondary market as well, right? So you have like a couple of options for that. You can also ship it. We're not going to have shipping at the very beginning. We're probably going to enable redemption and shipping in month 3 from the launch, but that's also an option. If you're a collector and you would like to have it at home, you can do that as well. We're going to have a plus expected value gacha machine. So basically on every $100 that you spend, on average, you should be getting $105 in fair market valuation of the cars that you're pulling from the gacha pool. Yeah.
Got you. So similar to Collector Crypt, if you keep all these cars, technically you should be making 5% margins the longer you play. Yeah. Whereas if you sell them back, that's a bit of where you guys keep a lot of the margins, is people selling it back and kind of chasing that car they want. And you guys keep 10% of those margins, you said?
Yeah, on average, because the plus EV is 5%. In that, if there's like 90% buyback and plus 5% EV, in that case, we are making 5.5% margin on volume. Yeah.
Got you.
Can I ask why the gacha mechanism has exploded? I mean, now I hear it everywhere. There's so many platforms doing this. It's very clear that it's good at generating volume because people kind of sit there and pull the proverbial, slot machine handle, if you will, to get what they're looking for, which shows great on analytics and stats. But like this model has exploded and it's gone now beyond trading cards. What got you excited about the model? And if you could just very briefly explain it too,
sure,
for those that don't know.
So I'm not sure like how early I was. I was basically playing gacha on Courtyard in like Q1 2025 last year, right? So that's when I
early.
got, right? Yeah. So that's when I got like really excited about it. And what I really liked is that because it's plus EV, especially if the asset and back then it was early for Pokemon still, right? So you were getting a chance to collect very cool cards, and then if you pay like $25, maybe the lowest you can go on gachas is like $15. So you are at least getting $15 back. But then there is a higher probability of getting these like chase cards, right? And that's what I think like people really love about it, like the gamification mechanics around it. And then at the end of the day, it's like plus EV, right? So if you are an actual collector and you just like keep playing, you're gonna be making plus EV on the fair market valuation. And then we like on the business model, we go back to the platform being able to acquire inventory at a discount, or being able to acquire inventory at basically like 10% discount from its own users. So in our case, for example, because we are early to the Hot Wheels market, we are able to acquire inventory at a much higher discount, like let's say 20%, maybe like sometimes 30%, right? Because we are just early. So we can't even increase our margins if people are gonna be keeping all of the pools out of Hot Wheels gacha, right? So for us, yes, like if they sell it back to us at 90%, we get inventory at 10% discount. But then if people actually hold it, it's even better for us because we can then go to the open market and acquire inventory as a big lot at around like 20% discount, right? Yeah. So from a collector's perspective, getting back to your question, there is this like component that it's transparent and how much the house is retaining out of it, right? And that it's plus EV. Yeah, that's what I really love about it.
So are you guys partner with somebody to do this, or are you going out and sourcing these cars, buying these cars in bulk? And I'm assuming what's going to happen is you would do the raise, and then based on how much you get is how much inventory you can go and really source to initially kind of get this thing going?
Yeah, so initially we're going to be running our own vault in the Bay Area. That's one. Two, is that we already have connections with collectors that have their collections and that are like ready to sell it to us as well. I mean, with collectors, the thing is that someone might have like 20,000 card collection, but they are very often fine to give away or like sell part of the collection, right? So we already have all of those relationships. And out of the 250K raise, we are planning to dedicate 50K of it to the inventory. Yeah, that's like initial number. And then if we see the volumes growing, we plan to do additional raise and put majority of that into the inventory.
Got you. How are you guys thinking about onboarding? We know, and I just keep saying Collector Crypt because that's the one I'm most familiar with, has about 1,000 daily users. Maybe it was 800 a couple weeks ago. It ranges, right? But those users seem to be largely coming from crypto still. How do you guys kind of break through that barrier to get these collectors that are actually just Hot Wheels collectors rather than just crypto guys using your platform?
Yeah, in fact, the first ICP group for us are people who are already used to Collector Crypt and Fidgetals, who know how it works, right? That's like my thesis in general is that we probably have around like 50,000 users in crypto, or maybe like people from Web2 that actually came to Collector Crypt and Fidgetals and Courtyard, who are already used to the concept, right? They know how it works. They know that there is a warehouse or like a vault with the cards in it, and then like the NFTs are minted one-on-one according to what inventory the platform is keeping, right? So there are people who already understand it, and now you bring Hot Wheels to them like a new collectible asset, right? So the first ICP are people who are already trading the TCG collectibles, right? Tokenized collectibles. And then like the second target audience are the Hot Wheels gacha collectors. And like on that side, the go-to-market strategy is to participate in different conventions and also do like a lot of like Instagram and probably TikTok advertising.
Got you. And maybe walk me through some of the raise details as well. So you guys are seeking $250,000. We understand how MetaDAO works. It's this ownership model where the holders basically own the underlying assets and IP and all that stuff. Tell me about all the details here. How much allocation is coming out monthly? You said there's going to be potentially future raises if volumes are picking up. How does that work? How is that built into the system? Because I don't think we've really seen that much from the MetaDAO model yet. So just maybe walk me through kind of all the details there that we need to be familiarized with.
Sure. So the raise is going to be at 250K, out of which we're going to put 50K into the liquidity pool initially, and then like another 50K, maybe 51, going to be spent on inventory. We're going to be spending another like 30 to 50K on advertising, and then the rest goes into the product development, legal accounting, and inventory management. At the beginning, we're not going to be like out of the raise amount, we're not going to be putting any money into covering like actual management costs, right? So that's a nice part about it. In terms of the monthly spend, like the actual operating costs are less than $20,000, but the monthly allowance going to be 40K because all of the like remaining amount of money from the monthly allowance going to be spent on acquisition of the inventory. Right. So like in terms of like operating costs, it's less than 20K, but then like the rest out of the monthly allowance can be spent on the inventory acquisition.
So this is really interesting. I mean, you guys aren't taking a salary. Obviously, it seems like you have, other businesses and whatever it may be. You're not taking a salary initially, so it is like a pretty low burn coming out of your corner. Is there a website already built, or do we need to build a website, build the UI, build the front end? Or are we like a little bit along the way here?
Yeah, so we think that we're going to be able to launch the webpage probably by the end of August, the platform. We already have some parts of it. The biggest challenge is building out the fair market valuation algorithm. And we are progressing really well on that side. We are actually deploying our computer vision model for that, thanks to my co-founder. So
there's the tie-in. Can you talk to that real quick, how that works? Because Pokemon has a pretty decent, what we would call in crypto an oracle market where it's giving price feeds. How does that work for these cars?
And even to further add on to that too, we also see like Pokemon is like repricing and re-rating so fast now. Those oracles can be wrong oftentimes. Actually, like underselling you on the project. For example, you'll spin it, it'll buy it back for $120. Well, actually now it's $170 on eBay. How do you guys constantly adjust that? And like Josh mentioned, just continue to update that oracle and get the accurate pricings across the board.
You basically need to have all of the pricing from all of the secondary marketplaces, right? So you need to control in live what is being sold, what is being listed, what kind of bids we have across like different web pages. Like with Hot Wheels, one of the big markets is Whatnot, and you cannot really scrape or like get information from Whatnot because it's live bidding if you have used Whatnot, and then the product description is not really written anywhere. So like if you were to get prices from Whatnot, you actually need to run a computer vision model in live or like on the recordings, identify what is being sold and at what price on Whatnot auctions, right? So there is like I would say one of the biggest modes is building the FMV engine for Hot Wheels in our case, because it's very hard to replicate and it's not exactly like with Hot Wheels. So like the pricing parameters are very different in some cases. Like in some cases, for example, the car might be the same, the actual car, but then the cardboard, the blister pack might have a logo that has a different color, for example, right? And that one thing just doubles the market valuation of the Hot Wheels. So Yeah. So yeah, like on the FMB side, I think we have already done a fair progress. Yeah. So ideally, we're going to be launching in August.
Okay, that's not too bad at all. So, all right, thanks for the clarity there. I mean, as for the grading system too, you mentioned, slight subtle details similar to PSA 10s to PSA 9s can make a huge difference in the pricing of things. How are you guys building an algorithm that's going to price these accordingly? Is there already someone that's doing the grading of these cars, and you guys are only taking graded cars, excuse me? Yeah, curious how that works.
Sure. The grading is not that common with Hot Wheels in general. There are like 2 companies that are doing it, but very niche, and people don't really use that for some reason. We haven't yet tried like doing grading with those companies, but so far we spoke with a lot of collectors. Some of them are telling us to start our own grading company if we are doing anything in this industry. Like at the end of the day, there is a lot of low-hanging fruit, I would say. We're not going to go for the grading, of course, maybe in the future, because I just think it's a great business. But in our case, we're going to be buying only mint or near mint condition sealed packs, right? And then we're going to be putting them into the protector cases. So they're not going to be like 7 out of 10 or like 6 out of 10, right? It's going to be like probably like 9, 10, maybe in some cases 8, and we're going to put a description for that as well, like the condition of the pack. But that's what we are targeting, right? So in our case, it's going to be mint or near mint condition cars. So we're not going to be going for grading at all.
Got you. And we touched a bit about the economics of this business and how it works. But let's say, like, let's play it through here. Raise goes well. You get to 250K. 50K goes to buying inventory. You can see all that on the page. What does the business model economics look like? If you have projections, based on, hey, there's $1,000 of volume that comes to our platform, 10,000, million, so on and so forth. What would the economics actually look like, so we can kind of get an idea to maybe gauge growth, revenues, numbers?
Yeah. So per every $1 million in volume, we make 55K in basically gross profit. Yeah, that's a attractive economics behind it.
That's really solid. And I mean, we see the gotcha volumes on some of these platforms. They're doing tens and hundreds and billions of dollars in volume. So that's a very enticing economics. When you guys were breaking down those numbers, how does that work out in terms of like, how do you get to that $50,000 number?
So in terms of like planning, we think that we're going to be able to acquire maybe 5,000 users, and then we think that maybe 1,250 users going to be repeat customers of ours that are going to be doing like at least 8 pools on the web page, right? Which brings us to around like 10,000 pools per month. And because we're going to have different price gotchas, the average price is going to be around like $100 throughout the gacha. So we're going to have like $25 gotcha, but we're probably going to have also like a $250 gotcha. Like average going to be probably like $100. Yeah, so pretty much 1,300 customers that do at least 8 pools bring us to like 10,000 pools in total. And then like if the average price per pool is $100, that brings us pretty much to 1 million, right? And yeah, let's see how it goes. But like we are very stoked about it, and I think like people that we talk with, even in the crypto space, like TCG collectors, everyone is everyone is so much excited that I didn't even expect them to be that excited.
Well, I mean, it's pretty cool. And when you have like again, you're not taking a salary. There's kind of relatively limited downside, of course, like, with this situation. So it's a really nice, and of course you get ownership as being a holder. So it's a really nice setup that you guys have going here with MetaDAO and everything you've kind of laid out for us. This 55K on $1 million in volume, does this assume that the acquisition cost of these cars is at a 20% market discount, or are there any of those factors that can vary, I guess, in terms of that pure profit?
Yeah, this like 55K is literally based on like 90% buyback from existing users. It doesn't even involve like if we are going like out and buying the inventory at a higher discount, right? So if we actually end up, if users end up holding, and if we go out and like buy more inventory at a higher discount, the gross profit is even higher, right? So we're like 55K is literally the base case scenario if there is a 90% buyback and plus 5% EV for the users, right?
Maybe to even tack something further on here, are you guys factoring in any price appreciation? I mean, if you look historically at Hot Wheels and where it's come, is that something we should think about?
Yeah, so that's a thing that I also wanted to mention. What I really love about it is that I think Pokemon is has kind of like priced out a lot of people already because it's at pretty much all-time high right now, right? So if you were to get in and like get some good cards, man, you have to spend like tens of thousands of dollars on it, right? Whereas with Hot Wheels, you might be very early, and I mean, it's volatile. We don't know where it's gonna go, but like it's very early right now with Hot Wheels. So the dynamics are that if you are early, most probably, it might work out well. I'm not exactly sure, so I cannot really promise anything.
Do you have an index or a chart you can pull up? We love charts on this show. This is a trading show. I don't know where I would find a price chart for Hot Wheels cars or some sort of index to reference the prices. Is there something like that?
There is nothing like that. That's why we are in this industry. Yeah, exactly.
Pure price discovery at all levels.
Yeah, like we've been counting the eBay sales. That's for sure. Like I can pull out that 1 second.
Show us anything you have. Like even if it's in a spreadsheet, I will take that.
Right.
I'm just curious because.
All right.
Yeah, and also with this, like the token value is pretty self-explanatory. You know, token holders own the protocol. We know Twom has mentioned some interesting mechanisms for the cards token, which is Collector Crypt's basically, you know, native token. He mentioned you'll have the net asset value of cards on stock, and he mentioned a lot of different economics around buying back the token if it dips below the net asset values of the cards you have in the inventory. Is there any thinking there if the token dips below net asset value of the cards that you'll buy back the token, or I don't know, any sort of thinking on that?
Okay, I think with ownership coins, what's great is that, and in our case as well, because we are a US company, first of all, I need to mention that like ideally we should be sending all of the revenue to the treasury, but because we are a US company, there are like some legal and tax aspects that we need to clear up with our advisors. Once it's done, I hope we're going to be able to actually send the revenues, maybe like quarterly, maybe at the end of each year, like net revenues, right? And then the token value, I would say, is derived from two different parts, right? So one is net asset value, as you mentioned, which is like inventory, how is the treasury, and maybe like the net revenues that we are keeping still in the company, right? On the US company side. So the basic like calculation behind it, and that's how people usually perceive all of the ownership coins, is that they look at the net asset value, right? And then of course you can layer on top of it all of the potential of discounted cash flow if you are like a guy who's like going in that direction, or maybe like just the potential in terms of revenue or user acquisition, right? And I'm gonna also open up the my screen.
Yeah, this bottom center can share it from there.
I think about when I'm thinking about like this conversation here, I think about the origins of, there was some airplane company. I can't remember if it was Spirit, Frontier, or what it was, but basically the founder found out a way, you know, you can buy the plane, but you actually book the tickets before, before any flights are done. So what he did is pre-book tickets, basically guaranteed cash flow, and then bought the plane. And that kind of seems like a similar situation that MetaDAO can offer, to where it's like if you have a company where you can pre-book revenues, you can kind of make this infinite flywheel here. And that's kind of happened with Spirit, and one of these companies, you know, became a multi-billion-dollar company. But I don't know. This is kind of the idea that comes to my mind here with this.
Yep, and also you asked about like how we could re-raise additional amount of money in the future. I also want to touch base on that. The reason I really love what MetaDAO is doing is that as a founder, you pretty much have all of this flexibility of raising additional rounds. So for example, we're going to have a float of, say, 10 million tokens at the beginning, and they're like 2.9 going to be in the liquidity pool. But then maybe like after 5 months, if we want to raise additional round, we can roll out a proposal that we want to mint additional 5 million tokens at a pre-agreed price, and then like sell those tokens to a new investor, right? And basically we can, in that case, if people think that it's plus EV for them to get diluted based on new investor coming into the company, people gonna vote for it, right? And in our case, because we're gonna be putting majority of that into the inventory, I think it might be a good deal for people to vote on, right? So there is this like flexibility of you being able to bring new investors all the time by rolling out proposals and minting new tokens.
When we talk about this price action, and I want you to explain what you're showing on screen, but Crypto Jones may parlay it. What, in your opinion, would be the catalyst for Hot Wheels bull market? If you can also speak to this chart here.
Yeah, so these numbers are eBay, like everyday eBay sale numbers, right? So as you can see, on average, like it's 5,000 to 5,000 units being sold every single day. You can see the volumes, and then you can see the average price, right?
And eBay publishes this.
No, the eBay doesn't publish this.
Okay.
We just get the analytics about eBay. But essentially,
that's more than I would have expected.
Yeah, man. Like it's so annual. If you go like with annualized numbers, this is $66 million on eBay alone, right? In secondary volume. This is like eBay alone.
Is that what are collectors mainly using eBay right now, or are they using other platforms?
Whatnot is really big. So you probably have maybe half of probably like 30, maybe even more $1 million on Whatnot. And then you have Facebook Marketplace, and then you have the IRL meetings. Again, because there is no secondary infrastructure right now, it's all like spread around. There is like no single place. There is like no single FMV applications that people are using. So that's why I think
also means people probably aren't paying attention to it then, because it's so difficult and so much friction to gather all this information.
Exactly. So getting back to your question of what could be a bull run case, I think there are some special cars that are in high demand right now, and that could be just going up in their value as well. And I think what we saw with Pokemon is that like the more people are holding the cards, right? The more collectors you are attracting, the more of the supply is getting into the diamond hands, right? And then that basically creates a limited supply of the market, and then the market participants are going like for higher prices, and the free market does its own job on that side. But I think that with Hot Wheels, we might see a very similar scenario. Yeah, and based again, right? I talk with a lot of collectors. I see them talking all the time that the prices are going up, but I still think that there is a room to grow.
Hollows has a question here. He says 50 of the 250 goes to inventory, I believe was correct. And then he's also asking, what's your personal collection like? I mean, you've done a lot of research here. Do you have a personal collection? And can people see that, or is there a picture of it? Like, how do you showcase that?
I have around like 300 cars. Let me see if I can just.
And if you want to pan your camera to like a wall of Hot Wheels, that would be the most amazing.
It's not a wall yet, but I don't know. Like this is just a kind of very like small part of it.
Oh,
so
nice.
these are all like treasure hunts and super treasure hunts. I've been just going through the collection yesterday. But yeah, I've been actively collecting because it's not only the collecting, but also building the relations with the other collectors. When you buy stuff from them, you then have a much better partnership, and you can talk freely, you can discuss different topics, and that's what I've been doing throughout the last 2 months.
Got you. That's been a fantastic conversation. I think we've really covered everything top to bottom. Josh, if you have anything left, feel free to jump in. Or David, if you think we missed anything that the people should really know about, definitely now's your chance to.
No, the only thing I'll say is the raise goes live tomorrow as per the graphic there on MetaDAO. So maybe walk us through any final screenshots you have here. I think I don't know if you want to, David, any more shots from your deck there real quick, and then give us some final thoughts.
One second. Yeah, I think, the raise goes live tomorrow. We are very excited about it. And just to give you some numbers, one second, and maybe the deck. Yeah. I'm just going to reiterate and highlight a couple of points here. So in terms of and why I think like we are very excited about it. So one is like demographics, that Pokemon covers only 3 generations out of 5, whereas like Hot Wheels is actually targeted at like all of the currently existing generations, including the ones that have like 85% of the wealth. And based on our research and talking with collectors, we are meeting like all of these age ranges throughout the collectors, and that's what I really like about it. There are like, as I mentioned, people that are over 60 years old, but then like people that are also in their 20s. So I think our total addressable market in terms of the target customers is increasing a lot, with Hot Wheels having a much bigger history than Pokemon and TCG. The second one is what I mentioned about the Pokemon industry, that you have $2 to $4 billion in Pokemon right now, and the secondary market is around $10 billion. And then like if you look at it as a Hot Wheels, it's 1.7 billion in primary, which is not that different from the primary market of Pokemon, but the secondary market is much, much smaller. So that's why I'm saying that we expect the secondary market to go up to like $4 to $5 billion if there is a secondary market infrastructure for it. That's like our bull case for it. That's why we think that it might go like 40 to 50x up. And like, of course, non-existent gacha market. And that's like where we expect that there could be a market for $1 billion spent in gachas.
So when you say secondary market volume, and there's a non-existent secondary market, would that be like, we're talking about eBay and other platforms alike, and you guys would create your own marketplace, and ideally that's what becomes.
Yeah, so in our case, we are starting with gacha platform, but then essentially we're going to have a marketplace as well on the platform. And my big belief is that the tokenization of real world assets is going to be continuing, and we're going to see an accelerating rate in there. So like, why would you keep a lot of the TCG cards or like Hot Wheels at your home when you can keep all of that in a warehouse? And whereas the temperature is controlled, the security controlled, the humidity is controlled, right? And then whenever you want to resell it, you just like resell it without like the hassle of listing it on eBay and then like doing the shipments to the new buyer, right? So there is like a lot of friction when it comes to collecting and then trading in the real world life. And I believe that all of the tokenization platforms are doing a great job at changing the culture of collecting and then reselling.
Yeah, and this is a good example of like how on-chain, quote unquote, Solana, like Collector Crypt and this TCG ecosystem has influenced the physical world. Is like now people are, we've seen this explosion of Pokemon and billions volume. Like I was just out with family a couple weeks ago, and they just said, yeah, like Pokemon cards are hot again, and everyone's talking about Pokemon cards. I'm like, yeah, well, I interviewed these guys, and they had like billions of dollars going through their platform trading Pokemon cards, and now people are like lining up at stores and buying it all. It's like, it's just, it's cool to see that these marketplaces kind of start on Solana and then, proliferate out a little bit. Any thoughts? We didn't ask about necessarily your crypto background specifically, but what is your crypto journey like? Have you been on Solana a long time? What do you think of Solana itself?
Yeah, how did you find Futardio?
Yes.
Yeah, so our crypto journey starts in the beginning of 2021. Me and my co-founder have been doing market making for decentralized metaverses back then, right? Like Sandbox and Decentraland. So we've been doing a lot of like running our own bots. That's how we started to do algo trading, literally back then. And then we started to do arbitrage in DeFi. We started to do GPU providing to decentralized AI protocols, like inference providing. So that's kind of our background on that side. And then like our company as well, the engineering company has been developing a lot of smart contracts for different protocols back in the day. And then in 2024, I met Profit at a small event that our mutual friend was organizing, right? And back then there was no Launchpad, right? It was like only actual decision market. And my first interest back then was like, how can I arbitrage it? That's like literally how I took the rabbit hole.
Hi,
like,
nice to meet you. I'm David. I'm about to arbitrage your platform.
Exactly, man. Like exactly. You know, like I was very direct with it. I
man.
was like, I want to arbitrage decision markets, and that's like that's when we actually looked into the code. That's when we realized how the decision markets work. And that was, the beginning of our journey in MetaDAO.
Wow. I mean, you're as OG as it gets for MetaDAO. That's, I mean, that was even before Launchpads were even proliferated, like really prior to Pump Fun, I think even. So,
and that's a key like skill set, I think, is to look at a nascent market and then try and understand its structure and if there's inefficiencies, and then how you can capture that inefficiency and then, kind of channel it through this token launch. What's the token ticker? I don't think I know what the ticker is. Are you settled on the ticker yet?
Yeah. It's cars.
Cars. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect ticker.
Right?
All right, guys, you know what? This is going to be a hot launch. I have a feeling people are going to be like, listen to this. They're going to hear your background. You're very smart, super entrepreneurial. You've been in the space doing all sorts of arbitrage stuff, market making. Like you understand how to make this work beyond or better than probably most. So this, David, really, really great chat.
Thank you so much, guys, for inviting. It was a pleasure talking. And yeah, let's see how it goes tomorrow. Super excited about it.
We'll be tapped in. So excited to see what happens. All right, David.
Awesome. Thank you.
Soon. Peace.
Bye.
Best of luck. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Takeaways, I think, Josh, is exactly what you said. David clearly knows how to build a business. He's done it in the past. And this is something that's exciting, fun, and new. And I think, just like you said, he saw this market that's relatively new, relatively fresh. And he's like, how can I get a piece of it? Okay. Collectible cars. I keep saying cards and cars. They sound so similar. I keep, no, but collectible cars and Hot Wheels are my way in. It seems, again, like the MetaDAO model works so beautifully for bootstrapping something like this because you actually get funding to buy underlying inventory. So if anything goes wrong, you still have that inventory, which can be liquidated, which can be sold. And it's a very interesting way to start like a business that kind of needs very little capital to start. And then everyone can kind of get a piece of it and just come together to do that. So I think it's really, really interesting. Again, it goes back to that story I told about whoever it was that bought an old plane that Boeing wasn't using, had pre-booked tickets, and he estimated his rate of return and how much he had to pay off from that plane monthly. It's the exact same thing. So really cool conversation. David is the man.
That's the key is you have to create the market. You have to understand the pricing, how to price things correctly. And if you can figure those things out and be the place where people trade, that's a really good position to be in. And I like the vision, using like, it's just, it's a new market. He's created a new market. So maybe there'll be Hot Wheels futures happening in the future. Who knows?
That's Josh's prediction for the day. No, but I mean, it is really interesting. What would have typically taken, like, for him to bootstrap this company himself, he would have had to go and get 50,000, 100,000, or 250,000, what they're seeking, right? So $250,000 of his own money, buy inventory, build the platform, get engineering. But this is a way to kind of start this exact same business with no upfront cost. I mean, the cost is all sourced from the community, which is and owned by the community, which I just think is fascinating. It's fascinating that you could do this today.
Thoughts on this?
All collectibles will come on chain. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, this was NFT. The visions of NFTs was like all of it would come on chain, but we kind of focused on pictures, I guess, in version 1 of that.
JPEGs. Yeah, no, it was always a thing though. I think everyone that kind of really believed in NFTs deeply understood the core vision of like what it could offer outside of a JPEG that you have as your PFP on Twitter. Um, it just kind of unfortunate that's what happened to stick. But I don't think cars should corner itself to such a niche market. Well, and maybe we should have asked this, but maybe they won't. Like maybe it expands past and beyond cars. Or maybe, they go and do another meta raise for another vertical. So I don't know. I don't think, look, there is a lot of value in cornering niche markets. Like we know there's a lot of big players that can't operate in this market because it's just too small. So if you can be the big fish in the little pond here and kind of corner a lot of that, like there's a lot of value there, which is, we had, for example, LeanFi come on the show a while ago. And I kind of think about that when I think of it's a smaller market, but because it's a smaller market, the big investment banks can't really focus on it, or they just put a small amount of capital towards it. So you can really dominate that niche and vertical. And I think it is similar here. So you're right. But I mean, maybe it has some proverbial cap on it of how valuable it could be. But I think, again, it could be dominated by one player pretty heavily. So, yep. Again, they say the riches are in the niches. So, that kind of says all it needs to be said. That being said, there's some Robinhood stuff that I want to check out and dig into. If you guys have tickers you want to talk about, we definitely can. I don't know how much I want to go through, but yeah.
Before we do that, 1,100 live here, guys, go set up your own Meteor.ag ref code. To do that, you're going to need this MCG code. You have to put a ref code in to get your own referral code. So go to the this tweet on MCG. I'm going to pin it. Actually, it's going to be the pinned tweet has this link in it, by the way. So put the MCG ref code in. Go stake 200 MET. So you got to go buy 200 MET. Stake it, and go delim. I remember I put on a position at the beginning of the show. Go back and watch it. Cash Cat on Solana. I already made, I think it like 10% with a 60% APR just today in the 24-hour period, given, the fees that I'm earned this morning stay consistent throughout that period. But yes, go provide liquidity to your favorite EZA projects, to your favorite Solana tokens, to your favorite meme coins, whatever you want to do. We appreciate the support of that. So
it's important to be early on this kind of stuff, right? So I think that's the biggest takeaway you can have here is be early if you want to share your ref link, or if you want to be early on the, the 10% of emissions that they're going to do from protocol revenue. It's important to be early. So not much of a fan of public. What's up, Josh?
Yeah, no, I was going to parlay this into hollows. A great strategy has actually been providing liquidity to these early MetaDAO projects because some of them have launched and created quite a bit of volume. Zinc being one of them. I made a good ton of money on that. But yeah, let's talk about this because, hollows, if you followed us from the Robinhood chain side, but we do cover a lot of Solana, of course, talk about some of the MetaDAO launches, Dom. Some of them have done extremely well going back.
Well, actually, not some of them, nearly all of them have done extremely well. If you actually look at a chart, and there's like analytics you could look at here. I wish I had it on deck. But if you look at a chart on traditional ICOs and what they're down on average versus MetaDAO ICOs, I think the average MetaDAO ICO is positive, whereas the average in 2026 ICO everywhere else is down like 90%. Of course, you have outliers, but these aren't really public pre-sales in the sense of ICOs like them. You have to think about ownership here. When you're buying into a company, you're buying the ownership and IP and revenue rights to this company. Okay. So with that being said, like you ask about pure blunders, I'll tell you about them, but there's limited downside here. And how you want to think about these as investors is what is your downside? And it's pretty much net asset value, right? So if they go and raise $5 million, right? And let's say they're burning 100K a month, they operate for a year, or let's say 10 months, right? Now that net asset value, that burn rate is down to $4 million. If the token's trading at $3 million, well, if anything liquidates, again, you're an owner. So if they decide to liquidate at any point in time, someone can raise a vote. You can raise a vote. Crypto Jones can raise a vote. A liquid fund can raise a vote. And they can, put their vote towards, well, token's trading at $3 million. There's $4 million in the treasury. I'm going to choose to liquidate because maybe the team's not fulfilling on their vision. The narrative's kind of died, whatever it might be. And so you can actually make money by a blunder per se. If you're buying a token at 3 million and net asset value is 4 million. Now on the contrary, you have projects like Credible who launched the other day who are doing $3.5 million annualized. So what you're going to want to do there is put a bit of a multiple on that, right? They raised 4 million bucks. There's 4 million in the treasury. Okay. Well, it's trading at 9 million, right? It launched at $9 million. Well, basically what's your downside there? Okay. 50%, right? You go to net asset value. It can dip below net asset value. But again, if at any point in time, the holders collectively agree, they're not fulfilling on their vision, we want to liquidate, they can. And like, that's your fair value there at net asset value. You're not fair value, just like the lower bound value you can have on that. So you shouldn't really look at it as you would normal ICOs. You have to understand there's kind of a downside. Like there is a downside fallback. Yeah, this is the chart. Perfect. Since 2025, if you bought every single token sale on CoinList, Legion, and MetaDAO and Bullpad, you'd be down 46%. Of the 41 token sales in this period, only 6 are above the initial price. Perhaps most notable is that 4 out of the 6 were MetaDAO: Avicii, Umbra, OMFG, Ranger. And we'll talk about Ranger here because you asked about blunders. Okay, Ranger Finance was a blunder. They went and raised. They advertised numbers that people didn't think were legitimate. And so what ended up happening is there was a vote to liquidate. So you could say Ranger Finance was being dishonest. And again, these are not my opinions. I'm just saying in general. Maybe you thought Ranger Finance was dishonest. You thought their numbers weren't true. Whatever it might be. Well, what happened? It liquidated. And so instead of a rug risk like you would normally face, okay, it comes out that all these things are untrue, token gets rug and goes to zero. There's none of that, right? Because at any point in time, there can vote to be a liquidation. And that's what happened in the case of Ranger. When this came out after the launch, people said Ranger seems to be, maybe skewing their numbers a little bit. Let's do a refund. And that's exactly what happens. And people were made a whole. I think actually people profited still off of the full refund, if I'm correct. So, yeah, very few cases of blunders. I think the only other blunder I would say is Zinc. Someone raised for, I forget the name of the original project.
ZKFG. I was actually going to talk about that one, but yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, if you go ahead and cover it then, Josh.
No, I know. So ZKFG, even one of them down here at minus 49%. What happened is they had created so they had ZKFG, which was working on privacy. Then they created a protocol that basically used the technology they developed with MetaDAO, but it had a fair launch token component. It was like a mining protocol, very similar to OR, which launched a net new token. And however, the revenue was flowing back to theoretically the ZKFG holders. Now with these mining protocols, you got to be very careful in managing kind of the value in the system. If you give too much value leakage through, revenue going to a treasury, it can kind of negate the effectiveness of them because you need them for buybacks, to kind of balance the inflation. So anyways, long story short, there was a proposal that was put out. Now, I think the ZKFG holders actually made out okay on it. I don't know if negative 50%. So even one of these red lines may be higher up here. I don't know if it filled out kind of in the end, but yeah, I don't know. It was a bit of a messy situation, but they did resolve it. Let's just say they resolved it quite good. And I believe the ZKFG holders made out with a premium that this chart doesn't give them.
Yeah, this chart, of course, was, snapshot from whenever it was taken. But
oh yeah, this is March 31st. Well, ZKFG actually had its liquidation after that. That was back in June, I think, for what it's worth.
So May. It's proven to be a very good model. It has proven to be a very good model. So like we said at the start of the show, MetaDAO's done the chewing glass, the legwork for the last year. And now it's been proven out, and good companies like Credible are choosing to launch on MetaDAO because of the benefits that come with it, like the bootstrap distribution, like the community champion nature, like the liquid funds being able to.
I mean, look at the other tokens on here. Like Pump is down. Well, this is from March, so this is still outdated. We need more updated data here, but even like Pump, well, it's at least 50% from its ICO. We know even at what it's trading at today. And they're like one of the most revenue positive protocols or projects ever existing on here. I mean, Frag was a GameFi project that ended up not doing well. I don't know. There's a few on here that are Rainbow are down 84%. Like, yeah, pretty rough outside of
ICOs are about to have a big revolution, and I think we just got that 0 to 1 moment here with Credible, and I think it's very clear.
So I know Hollows, you came from the Robinhood side, but this is what's happening on Sol. And if you are looking at tokens, MetaDAO is definitely one to look at. Back to your comment here.
And again, like just to close this off, guys, you know, liquid funds, and I have this saved actually, so let me pull it up. Liquid funds right now are investing at the lowest level they have since 2017. I want to say. I'm going to pull up the exact numbers here. And I think this changes that because we're seeing extreme interest from liquid funds. Yeah. So here is total crypto deal count, right? This is from 2019. It's at the lowest point we've seen since October of 2019. The lowest point for, you know, venture and liquid fund deal count, which is insane. Now, Coliseum's been doing a lot of this investing. Of course, Coliseum brought Credible to market actually for MetaDAO, right? That was a Coliseum project. With that being said, deals are terrible right now. Like liquid funds are not active. They don't want anything to do with it because these tokens are uninvestable just because of the chart we showed you a second ago. And I think that's changing as we're seeing massive interest from liquid funds in MetaDAO. Again, 50% of Credible was sold to funds and liquid funds. And again, they have direct control over these outcomes, right? So if you have like Thea, for example, holding 10, 20% of a company, they can go and raise a vote on MetaDAO and pretty much sway that market into whatever direction they want. So they have a lot of protection, whereas a private market, they don't. Or if you're a liquid fund investing in tokens, you have really nothing. You're investing in the token. You're not on the cap table. So liquid funds are finding this much more valuable, and I think we'll see a lot more capital coming from them as this gets proven out. They just need to understand the system. Once liquid funds understand, I can own a piece of Credible, 10%, let's say. I can buy I can own 10% of Credible, and I can now raise votes depending on what I want from them. Right. I actually have control over the protocol and I have a big sway on it. They're going to really, really want to do this. So it's, yeah, this is very telling where we're at. And I think ICOs change forever because of MetaDAO. It gets this space probably pretty active again at some point. So how is the Futardio altcoin looking? Yeah, I have no idea. I really only stick to, obviously the utility on MetaDAO. But that is like
let's look at that. I've actually owned it a couple of times, but it's so frustrating. There's no like trading volume for it. I'm curious, do you have DEX open? If you put up
yeah,
Futardio. Yeah, Eve, trust me, I've delimbed it, I've owned it, I've lost money on it. Every time I've bought it, I've lost money on Futardio. It's just been a frustrating token to own. I mean, it had such a hype launch. There was like one guy LPing it and made like 1,000% in like a couple hours. Is crazy.
That's insane.
What is this? 113K market cap. Look, 2.3K in volume.
How much did they raise though? Like again, I'm not a big meme guy, but there's a pretty easy mathematic calculation you can make here. You go to their 01 resolve page. I mean, here we'll do it right now. Okay. So what I'm going to do is if you want to see the net asset value of all these tokens, go to 01 resolve and you can see all the information there, how much they raised, how much their emissions are, or not emissions, how much their burn is, run rate. All right, let's see. So I got 01 resolve pulled up here. Let's do Futardio. So Futardio is trading at $113,000 market cap. There's 26K in liquidity. Let's see how much they have. Because if net asset values are below this, like, and you know, there's mimetic value in this, but if you want real practical value, you just got to look at. Okay. So we see this is 01 resolved. Okay. You can see the distribution here. How much did they raise?
I think 50K or something like that.
Was it 50K? Okay. Yeah. Total raise 50K, yeah. 50K total raise, 50K accepted. Blah, blah, blah. All right. And I got to see burn rate here. I'm assuming this is pretty low. There's nothing to it.
So what I do know is they hired the guys that did Ownership FM to create content for Futardio to keep it fresh. And they put 10K into the liquidity to relaunch the LP, I believe.
Well, it looks like their treasury balance is 48K.
Yeah, so they've done some stuff here.
I mean, if you look at
500 months of runway, I know they're not taking much. I do know that.
Treasury allocation, yeah. So there's 27K in liquidity, 20K in LP position. So there's 47K right there. You can see all the assets they have. So
right.
I
Okay.
traded at 100% premium, basically.
And also, I think is their LP position just purely USDC, or did they have it paired with the Futardio token? Just says USDC there.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, you know, it's actually higher than I thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, so like you know, downside here.
So look, you got a meme coin. I mean, this guys, Futardio was the first meme coin that was
monthly spend under $50.
It was the first meme coin to be governed by Futarki. Oh my goodness, that's a mouthful. And yes, the thing with delimbing this, Ave, is there's just not a lot of volume yet. However, what you could do is you could buy like half and half of it and set your kind of delimbs out in a bid ask and just have it, you know, exit the position as it goes up, because there probably will be some motion on this. You know, if it goes from 100K to 200K, you know, you're exiting out as you go up there. So that might be a trade, but you kind of got to wait. I wouldn't LP this for the sake of the volume, because there really is no volume.
For a meme here, I would be interested in some other mechanisms for MetaDAO to where they actually have like fees on trades. You know, lots of places charge 1%, 2%. I think 1% would be interesting for a meme like this, so the treasury can actually continue to grow, and then the net asset value of the meme actually increases with attention. So I know that'd be a little change from their current mechanism, but potentially interesting for this. So unless MetaDAO's doing really, really, really cool things, you should be paying attention 100%. And of course, the credible launch, which I'll pull up right now, has been wildly successful. Wildly successful. Right?
Yeah.
I love Soul Ego. Been around since the earliest days, but Robinhood is a new one. So right now I'm more interested there. Yeah, fair enough. And it woke me up from bear market depression. Just been building, waiting for the next influx of activity. No, that's real. Yeah,
you and us both, Hollows. Are you in our Discord? I think this is what Dom was about to say, but Hollows, are you in our Discord? Hit us in the DMs. Want to make sure you're in our Discord.
Well, he was just asking for it.
Yeah.
Need you in our Discord groups. Yeah, we'll hit us a DM. We'll get you in the Discord. Also want to see what you're building. Maybe make some introductions for you. Any idea what AMM MetaDAO uses? Yeah, it's Meteora. I was wondering, I was just thinking about re-entering this morning with all the MetaDAO hype called could run. Yeah, it's not a bad take. And I really think we're in that, like, we're at this phase right here of exponential.
Go back to that chart. We don't pull up a many 100K tokens on this show, but I don't mind this Futardio one. Just, I know it's well ran and well led by the guys at ownership. Like, look at this chart though, eh? Like, it's go daily. If you go and zoom it out, like, it's just chopped sideways. Like, that's a pretty decent chart. Very wiki though. Very, very wiki.
Well, there's just no liquidity. I mean, it was down 70%. Yeah. So at one point we were below net asset value. So like down here, it's I'm not gonna say a no-brainer, right? I'm not gonna say there's no risk, but the risk to reward is incredibly good when you're sitting below freaking net asset value and they're burning $50 a month.
Yeah. And in April, I bought this at like 36 or 40K market cap. And like, as soon as I entered, someone sold into my buys. I was like, guys, come on, what are we doing? Like, anyways, this looks a lot healthier. Whoever was holding too much of it is pretty much gone.
Yeah, I'm with you, Crypto Jones. I also wouldn't buy, but
yeah, it's still a meme coin at the end of the day. But again, see, the things are, you just never know if these things, like, there's been things I thought were ridiculous and they end up like doing really well. So anyways,
yeah. Let's talk Robinhood, boys. There's a lot going on. Obviously, we had pawns on today. This is trading at 17 million. Man, and like, I'm happy to see something running, but I'm so gutted thinking Noxa fumbled this bad because my thesis was so so spot on. Obviously, this is the current leading Launchpad. If this was Noxa would also probably.
Dude, this has got to be max pay, knowing that you could have just been in this.
Well, no, max pay knowing that I got absolutely brutally wrecked on Noxa and I bought it at like half of this price, not like even less than half of Pawn's current price action. It was leading, getting wrecked on Noxa because the devs are absolutely stupid, and then missing Pawns because of it, and being sidelined and watching this thing run up. Definitely salty about it, but yeah, just what are you gonna do? So this is Pawns. We had him on today. Obviously, a leading Launchpad. I missed the dips on this too. Like even back here was pretty obvious. Here was pretty obvious. Here was pretty obvious. If you get a dip, I'd say probably not a bad thing to position in. I would go and see how much they're earning right now, what that equates to. Again, 80%. They do a 80-20 split, I believe they said. Or 70-30, something like that.
70-30.
From the 30%, 80% goes to buybacks, 20% towards platinum development. So do the math on that. See what this would look like if volumes continue to persist. I'm not sure how much buybacks they've already had, but I'd be interested to see. So that's Pawns. Sherwood we've had on the show. This one's doing really well. Solid volume every single day. It's trading at 16.8 million. The team was really good for this. I think Sherwood's probably one you want to pay attention to. It's just a little high right now. We're waiting for all the ceilings to rise, so like it's hard to tell what this could go to. But I think you might have other options that may be at like a cheaper price. But I think this one is pretty solid. Josh, you were on the Sherwood call. What do you think?
Yeah, I think at 18 mil, it seemed a little expensive because I believe they had just launched and they didn't really have much metrics in terms of like TVL or metrics kind of live yet. However, the devs of this were like really good quality S tier guys, and building agentic. They're basically building like mini hedge funds on the platform run by agents, and then they have a mechanism where they call it Guardian, where you hold a bunch of wood, and I believe you can vote on strategies if you hold wood, and if the strategies are profitable, you get rewarded. If they're not profitable, you get slashed. So there's kind of like this baked in incentive mechanism to be profitable. I just think at 18 mil, it takes time, or 60 mil, it takes time to get the TVL, to get the trust, to get the case studies ramped up, where, you hit critical mass and people are just like, oh, Sherwood platform, obvious take. I'm just going to deposit all my funds.
I agree.
It just takes time.
I agree.
But directionally, totally correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Index is another one. I don't like. A team as Anon. They were followed by Vlad, which of course shot to $61 million market cap. It's back down to 15. I don't know. Is this going to be the leader for RWA? Vlad follows it. People are assuming it may be. Unclear. This is launched on virtuals, I want to say. No, maybe not. Nonetheless, it's stock dividend protocol for Robinhood's L2 tokenized stocks. It leans into the narrative that they're looking into. Vlad followed them. I don't know, maybe one to watch if you think it's going to lead to RWAs. Just kind of sus that the team is Anon, and like I've tried to get a hold of them. We know if people don't come on MCG, it's typically a pretty negative sign. I mean, what are you hiding from? So I'm not flooding Index here, but I don't know. Watching it is in an interesting zone. I mean, it had a pump to 60 mil. It got all this hype. So Vex, I think, is really interesting right now. Pumping today. We've, of course, had Vex on the show. Pumping today because Robinhood put out the tweet talking about agents coming to their, basically an API plugin where agents can actually now operate on the Robinhood app. And everyone's like, oh, well, that's what Vex is doing. I think Vex had a lot of like downloads today, or new agents created is something I saw. Let's do some DD. And that's going to be largely the rest of the show here. I'm going to go through some of these and do DD because I want to figure it out for myself. And I guess even before that, I'll preface, I think the hyper rotation that's happening on Robinhood right now has left a lot of good utility projects kind of bottomed out and in the gutter because people are just jumping to the next hot thing.
Oh my goodness. What is this Chill, this AI thing in long.fun that Chill talked about is like,
yeah. So we have Nate coming on the show from Long. Again, he's been building for a long time. It's looking really good. I'll get to that in a second here.
Yeah. Vex was a very impressive conversation from last week, by the way.
It was, and their protocol looked pretty good. They'd been building for what? 6 weeks or
6 months, I think he said.
Was it months?
I can't remember. You have to go, you guys. You got to go back and watch it. But
Go back and watch it.
It was a little bit of time. It wasn't just like vibe coded yesterday.
Yeah, and this was launched with virtuals. So again, kind of fits into the narrative of Agent here. Yeah, 15 more Vex agents were added on chain in the last 5 minutes. In the last 5 minutes.
Wow.
Jeez. So yeah, I think they're picking up some traction, of course, because of this. Robinhood is now open to AI agents. You can open an agentic account and connect an AI agent to it. From there, you can let it research, trade, and manage portfolios on your behalf. Here's how you get started. Add the Robinhood MCP, blah, blah. But I mean, again, it's so easy. You just have to pay attention. Like if you were paying attention to the token holder call, you would know exactly what Robinhood was planning to do, exactly what they're planning to do. They brought up, they said, we're big on RWAs. We're big on agentic finance. Okay, it doesn't get more clear than that. What happens? Vlad starts tweeting a bunch about RWAs. Everyone in CashCat's like, oh no, he's not talking about memes. He's talking about RWAs. He's ruining us. It's like, well, you knew he was going to talk about RWAs because that's very clearly what he said he was going to do. So RWAs are a big focus. And what else did he say during the call? Who knows? Who knows? Agentic finance. We want agents to trade. We're rolling out the agentic section of the app. Okay, they're going to continue to develop it. This is not just going to get sunsetted. So AI agents, of course, are coming to Robinhood. Vex is set to benefit from that, or anyone building basically agentic trading applications where you can plug in an AI agent. It can help you do the research, make the investment, make the trade. That's what Vex does. Okay, so look out for Vex and adjacent products like that. If you guys have anything, drop them in the comments. We'll check them out. We also had who was it? They said $100 for anyone that comes and spins up an agent on our platform.
That was the
our first interview of that day.
The trading competition, dude.
Prize fight.
Yeah, prize
fight. Yeah, so welcome to Prize Fight, the agentic trading layer on dedicated Robinhood brokerage account. So we talked about this one. So maybe this one is a potential trade. Again, earlier on, much earlier on, but here it could be a sleeper because I don't think a lot of people know about this one. Let's check. And they got very, very little posts, but we saw the dev's face. We know he's building. We know he's building agentic finance around Robinhood. Oh, this is a little higher than I would have expected, to be honest with you. But yeah, 815K. 815K right now. And I'm going to add this to my watch list. Again, not because I'm super crazy on it specifically, but you have to remember, right now, Robinhood is largely narrative driven. These are not, a lot of these are not investments. These are trades. Okay, so you have to differentiate. What is an investment versus what's a trade? Credible, that's an investment. I think in 6 to 12 months from now, it probably continues to grow and scale, and token does well. Lots of the Robinhood positions are trades. You have to look at these differently. They're probably going to pump to extremely overvalued points because they're not doing any revenue. They're largely in the ideation phase and early stage companies. These are trades, and that's fine. You just have to trade them differently. Something like Prize Fight, it's early on. This development takes time. But what does it have? Okay, the narrative of exactly what Robinhood's pushing towards, right? RWAs and agentic finance. Okay, well, it's bringing RWAs on chain or allowing you to trade them through the platform, and it's leaning into the agentic finance side. Okay, is that enough narrative to push this? Maybe. There's going to be a lot of people competing on it, but can they capture that attention? Maybe. Meaningful user growth is what you want to look for. Continued development. You want a clean-looking platform. People are going to bid whatever looks the best. Vex looks really good. It does. It looks really good. They've been building for a while. They are first to market. So those three things are going first. The more I think about it, Vex is a really good investment to kind of lead this agentic finance narrative, right? RWAs have kind of been running on Robinhood, but agentic finance.
This comment here, Vex is awesome platform, is game changing in my opinion. Needs more time. Added a lot at 5 mil range. Looking to trade it.
I think that's your leader.
As volume flows in. Hulls, have you actually used Vex? This is the thing, is a lot of people invest in the token, but they never use the product. Curious,
and that's fine.
Anyone who's used, that's okay. Yeah, that's totally fine. Curious to see if anyone in chat has actually used Vex personally.
I mean, with that too, you have to download it, which is the biggest friction point barrier of entry for Vex is you have to download it. And we know crypto people no likey. Prize is cool concept. Dev's a nice guy, but doesn't have what it takes, in my opinion. Yeah, that's fair. Again, largely a trade, not an investment for me. Even Vex, I think, is largely a trade, not an investment for me. But yeah, looking good. Clearly built a base around these levels right here. Clearly built a base. So if you slam to 5 mil, you're looking good. Yeah, we've seen the RWAs run on Robinhood. Clearly. Index, So many. We have not seen agentic finance really run on Robinhood, and that seems to be equally as important to them. So what is going to lead that? I would keep eyes on Vex. What else? Wallet, this one still got a lot of lore. Do you believe it was launched by the Robinhood team or not? Will they adopt it? Was it a test? Who knows? People are comparing it to Tibber. Tibber community doesn't really like that, but they're doing a lot in terms of attention for it. I'll tell you that much. I'm not in Wallet. I don't know if I'll buy it, but it's been bouncing pretty nicely off these dips, I will say. So it's one to watch. Vim. This was an early launch for Virtuals. Virtuals promoted it a little bit. This one's sitting at $1 million market cap, and it's sitting at these lows. I have seen nice little bounces, right? So this wick down had a nice little bounce. Okay, so this is the chart I'm looking for. This late early situation, right? We weren't early. We weren't down here where we got that move up, but we're still very early relative to the lifespan of Robinhood chain. But we're just late to being early, and I think this is what you want to look for. Had the pump, had the pullback. Rotation's happening, changing of hands is happening, and we're starting to get a sideways motion, maybe some sort of pumps. Okay, so I really like the setup here from a chart perspective on Vim. Do I like Vim? I don't know. Let's take a look. This is Vim. Permissionlessly fully backed indexes of tokenized assets on Robinhood chain. Okay, so it's basically index. This is one of the first ones as well. I think Index launched and Vim launched, and they're kind of like very similar products. The website does look pretty good if I remember looking at it, and if I'm remembering correctly. Not available in my region. It was earlier. The underlying Robinhood stock tokens are not available to persons in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Switzerland, or UAE, or jurisdictions subject to comprehensive. Oh, that's not very good. But forget about it. Can I see the platform? No. Well, that's a shame. That's going to stop our research process a little bit early, but it was looking good last I checked. I mean, I could throw on a VPN and check here real quick, but probably not going to do that here. We can do their Twitter though. All right. Index funds minus the fund company. VMIN waves tokenized assets on Robinhood chain into indexes that trade as one token. So it's indexes that trade as one token. Okay, the contract holds the asset, no manager, no admin keys, and redemption. Here's what the website looks like. We'll mute her up here, and I'll 2x the speed. Okay, like, I mean, it looks pretty good. You got the Mag 7, the Hood 6, right? So people can create their own indexes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's super unique technology. Again, much more of a narrative trade. So good morning, Max. Good morning. Okay, so that's VimX. I think VimX becomes a trade if index goes on a crazy tear, and this one's kind of lagging. Because I think it's pretty much doing the same thing. You just build indexes, and it's a token that you can trade. So, okay, there's Vim. Keeping eyes on it. I just like the chart. Not sure if the product's unique enough. Fletcher, I believe this one was tokenized Pokemon card. So this is kind of RWA. It's trading down at 235K. I would want to see the metrics for this one. Probably a fade though. I don't know. Not unique enough. Not really fitting into like Robinhood's visions of RWA. I don't think. Worker one we have coming on at the end of the week. So we'll get the full take there, but I'll check out their Twitter. And again, feel free to drop what you guys want to check out. I think Ozzy was right about Base being the utility place and Robinhood being the meme space. I disagree. I don't think Robinhood's going to be a meme space. I think it's, again, I'm not sure if I'm the only one seeing it. I don't know why we're having this conversation still to this day. I think it's very, very clear that Robinhood is extremely focused on RWAs. It couldn't be more clear. So I would definitely disagree with this notion that Robinhood is going to be the meme space. I think it's going to be the RWA, agentic finance, and meme space pretty equally. Why would you think otherwise? It's very clear. Vlad has told us exactly what it's going to be. We don't have to guess. I use the research everything I buy. Yeah, it's still beta, and yeah, fresh MacBooks for this type of stuff. Yeah. Okay. You use and research everything I buy. Good. That's how you should do it, Hollow. That's how you should do it. Then we want you in the Discord because that's the type of research we want. Good. Hood morning. Agree. I agree, chill. Awesome. I'm only holding wood on the Robinhood, only legit team building a crazy huge narrative for months now. Yeah, so the thing about wood as well that you want to know, guys, is I think it's pretty low float. So like you look at it and we were talking about, 16 seems pretty high, 17 million seems pretty high. Yes, it is pretty high, but I believe it's very, very low float. So I would need to get the numbers on that. Max, maybe you can elaborate on those numbers if you have them. What coin/project from the last 3 days have caught y'all's eyes on Robinhood? Do you wait for them to mature beyond first launch? Depends how early you are. Again, a lot of these things are trades, so they don't really need to mature a lot because it's not going to be something you're investing in for the long term. Here's what I'm looking at, though. I think Vex is pretty compelling right now, especially as they push into agentic finance more. I think we get a similar run than like we've seen to a lot of the RWAs. Silver, I think, is one that's interesting just purely off the revenue metrics, right? They're doing a lot of revenue. Numbers are really high. It's catchy. I think it catches the timeline. It gets a little pump. Again, silver is nothing new. It's zinc, it's ore, it's all the other SOV protocols we've seen. It just so happens it's like a plug and play, right? It's just the one on Robinhood. But I do think every time you look at revenue, silver is up there, and that number is going to get a lot of people interested. It's just you got to check if emissions are going to outpace burns or if burns outpace emissions, and then you have your trade. So there's silver. 60% circulating and believe on wood, if I'm remembering it. Yeah, 65%. Okay. Still pretty high, though. That still puts it at about $8-9 million market cap. So silver's one I'm watching on this dip. It's been a beautiful trend. We had this in the Discord literally at the lows, and it's just been like a stair step 20x. Stair step 20x. Jeez, you boys are beasts. Let's see. Karma. I actually really like Karma as a narrative. I really do like Karma as a narrative. I think Karma can be really successful if they lean into like, we are the trading app for Robinhood. We're the first trading app to launch on Robinhood. Everyone using Robinhood should trade on Karma, right? That could be a narrative they lean into. It's all transparent. They're doing 90% buybacks, whatever. It's looking really good. So I like Karma. I do hold Karma, actually. So keep that in mind. AI. This is also another interesting one. Of course, as you know, I've known Nate for a while. We've talked about this. I've talked to Nate about Long well before Long was even launched, well before it was coming to Robinhood. But he supported this coin. It's AI. It's basically Long is a launchpad that pairs tokens with equities, right? So for this example, he paired AI with NVIDIA, and it's the AI trade, right? So it's a meme. It's also the AI trade, and it's paired with NVIDIA. This is what the Long platform is doing. This seems to be the ecosystem leader. If Long is not going to have their own native token, this could be kind of the beta to Long. We know Launchpads are doing very well. So this is kind of like, do we think Pawns is priced fairly at 20 million here or 17 million? Okay. If so, you see something like Long has done $8 million in trading volume. Does this catch up? Does this take volume? Does this become a meaningful Launchpad on Robinhood? Does it lean into the right narratives? Yes. In terms of volume starting to catch up, really nice. So, okay, they're in the runnings here. And yes, in terms of they're offering exactly what Robinhood wants for RWAs. So that's kind of the play here. As for token value, AI being the official token of the Long Launchpad, that's up for debate. That's the risk. But looking really good. And of course, one Chill and I talked about the other day, and it's, up 10x easily. 200K was it at? 300K, maybe 5x? I don't know. But it's up pretty well. I would watch that one. Privacy Hood's one I need to look into. Again, I don't think it really fits the narrative, though. Like privacy, not really what Robinhood's pushing. So more risk there. Wode. This is another Launchpad. And they're doing something similar where it can be a little complicated, but basically there are index tokens that represent index of either tokens or equities or baskets of stocks. And based on that trading volume, it flows back into Wode. So there's a bit of a flywheel here. This is a Launchpad. Same thing, though. You can be really early. If this starts picking up volume, potentially you can be early and kind of catch some of that catch up to Pawns, catch up to AI, catch up to some of the, up. So I'm watching this, not invested. Stockbrokers, this one's gone crazy. It looks like it's on a bit of a dip. We have them coming on later this week. I do think this is a really interesting one. And I say that because I think NFTs are kind of making a bit of a comeback. I think Robinhood doesn't have a big community around it right now. So the first NFT project could kind of create a good community around Robinhood as like the Robinhood community, the NFT flagship NFT. So I think that's cool. This also has a lot of underlying mechanisms. I tried to understand it, but I wasn't fully grasping it on the call I listened to, although I was listening very loosely. But people seem to think it's a really, really good Launchpad, really interesting mechanism. So it's one you definitely need to watch. And I think there's a lot of different aspects that they've done right, like with the NFT pairing, and all that good stuff. Crypto Jones says the real builders are still choosing to build on Solana at the end of the day. Only reason they are going to Robinhood right now is because the attention is getting blah, blah. But hype will fade and real protocols will favor Solana for its underlying tech. Maybe, bro. I don't know. Discord been in on this for a while, for sure. Do you think the real collectors will actually be satisfied by owning NFTs over the real thing? Well, it's the same thing. You redeem the NFT for the real thing, right? I think Pokemon is hot and the crypto traders are chasing hype, and cards has provided a great platform for them to short-term speculate on. Yeah, bro. Hey, here's what I think, Crypto Jones. Here's my piece of advice to you. As somebody who's largely in the same boat, I'm allocated with most of my portfolio on chain right now to Solana and Solana ecosystem. That does not mean I'm going to put on the blinders and only trade Solana ecosystem and assume that's going to dominate the volume. Robinhood is clearly dominating volume right now. And there are real builders building on Robinhood. I'm talking to a lot of them. A lot of them want to migrate off Solana. A lot of them are choosing to launch on Robinhood over Solana. It's early stages, but counting Robinhood out right now and like specifically fading it to position in Robinhood or in Solana, I think is very stupid. I think you should have diversification, have a little piece in both, which I, of course, do. And I'm still largely positioned in Solana, mainly as like the largest on-chain positioning. But Robinhood, I think, is very sticky. Very sticky. Vlad knows exactly what he's doing. They know exactly what push they want to make. It's like early base days. Do not fade it. Robinhood feeling a bit saturated, not enough liquidity to go around. How you guys playing it at this stage? Yeah, exactly like I'm talking about right now. I agree. Not a lot of saturation. Extractors are coming, but that leaves charts, everyone chasing the next chart, which means there is actually good stuff that's maybe going to lead the correct narrative Robinhood is going to push that are at lows and great accumulation zones if you think it's going to stick. And you could probably hold them for a week and see good price appreciation.
Classic supply and demand of projects. Saw this with NFTs. Any new eco, it's like once the supply of new projects skyrockets, it's like, yeah,
rotation game. But they always come back to the good ones, right? So that's the thing. It becomes an opportunity. If there's a good project that fits the narrative that's going to lead, the rotation's always going to end up back there.
Keep in mind that Solana and Robinhood are totally different technologies, right? They're written in different language, EVM versus SVM. And so if you're a Solana builder, let's say you're building a protocol in Solana, to rewrite and redeploy your project on Robinhood is not trivial. For someone like Karma, who's building more of a Web2 product, yes, you know what? There's a lot of integration points where you can add another chain pretty easily these days, and you can make that switch. And it's more of just like a narrative tapping into the ecosystem, but you're not rewriting your whole product. Whereas something like, DeFi protocol, like a trading DeFi app, you would have to rewrite your whole code base. It just wouldn't work. So that's where
you could do it. Just how important is it to you?
It's difficult. You could do it. You just got to decide if it, are you introducing new risk to your business by doing that? And if it outweighs the attention you'll get, maybe over the long term, I get it. But as a short-term narrative thing, like,
I'll give you the best example of this. The best example is Nest. We've had them on the show. This fits Robinhood perfectly. This token right now is at 2.5 million, market cap 5 million, FDV. This would probably be at like 20 million on Robinhood right now. They can't just port over to Robinhood because it's built on Solana. Everything's on Solana. So for them to get to Robinhood, it would take a lot of engineering and developing to get this piped over to Robinhood. So like, this is a great example because everyone's saying Nest would be perfect on Robinhood. Nest would be perfect on, yes, it would be, but it's going to take a lot of time, resources, dedication to make this happen if it is the case. Okay, Dom, I don't fully disagree, but what is it about Robinhood outside of the current hype is new or better to attract builders? Dude, I've talked about this so much. Like, I've talked about this so much already. But I'll go over it one more time. I'll go over the Robinhood thesis one more time for you. And again, attracting builders is just a piece of the puzzle. It's a chicken and egg problem, right? To have builders, you also need to have district supply and demand, right? Both sides, right? So yeah, to have people building, you have to have people using the platform. Robinhood has a massive, massive user base that people can build for. Bigger than Solana, bigger than Coinbase, bigger than both of them combined. So builders are attracted to Robinhood because they have a group of people that they're building for. And Robinhood's largely supporting the build out of apps that are supporting RWAs and agentic finance, right? We saw today the announcement, build an agent, trade on Robinhood. Okay, so now if I'm a builder and I want to pipe my agent that's going to do research, going to help me execute trades, and I get a fee on top of that into Robinhood, I can tap into their entire existing user base of retail users, of someone that would be like, oh, I'm not going to spend the time doing a lot of research here. I wonder what an AI thinks. Can it execute this trade for me? I don't really know how to do this. I'm not familiar with brokerages. So that's why builders are attracted to Robinhood. And also the Robinhood thesis just goes back to simply being the largest retail financial app in the world. There is a ton of exit liquidity that can come over to Robinhood if they continue to push this. Vlad is not, he's a very innovative guy. And this is not like an overnight, fly-by-night conversation here. Sol does have Anthem, though. And that's something to think about. No, but this is not a fly-by-night project. Again, Robinhood was one of the first people to introduce private equity on chain. Like they brought SpaceX, they brought OpenAI, they brought Anthropic on chain via crypto rails, or obviously through crypto rails, but they brought that to their users. So they've been iterating around crypto and blockchain for a long, long time now. A lot of their backers, we talked about Mickey Malka, who's a backer of Coinbase and Robinhood, very crypto focused. So I think Robinhood's very crypto focused. I think they know what they're doing. I think they have a knack for understanding retail and onboarding an extreme amount of users. And I think they're very clear about the vertical and narratives that they're building towards and what the future looks like, which is agentic finance, clearly, and making RWAs more accessible to everybody, right? Like private equity, like on-chain, NVIDIA, on-chain equities. So pull up the Robinhood chart. It looks great, dude. It looks great. This is the Robinhood chart. Yeah. It looks fantastic. So yeah, just again, so that's the thesis on Robinhood. I don't anyone fading Robinhood is point blank retarded. Point blank retarded.
Yeah, don't mid-curve it.
Don't mid-curve. Why would you mid-curve Robinhood? There's nobody bigger has come to the space and built out a blockchain. Nobody bigger in the entirety of crypto has come to the space and built out a blockchain. And nobody's better positioned to execute on a retail blockchain than the largest retail financial app in the world, right? You don't have to think too deep about this. It's not some trivial thing. Okay, well, maybe they'll come and they'll do what Coinbase did and they won't execute. They won't know how to cater degens. Okay, maybe. But like so many maybes, so many what ifs. We're talking about Robinhood. I don't even know. It's not a question. Robinhood now, yeah, this is the thing. Robinhood bird soul holders mid-bear a few years back, then launched their own chain mid-bear this year. Clear redemption story. Also, Vlad rhymes with Chad. Makes sense to me. That's a great point, the Vlad Chad part. No, but they did have obviously the whole Terra Luna thing, the whole FTX thing, and Robinhood.
They delisted Sol, yeah, at the bottom,
right, which was a bad move. But I mean, they're trying to protect their ass. I'm not here to defend or but yeah, so it's just like fading Robinhood and mid-curving it is so beyond retarded, to put it lightly. So beyond retarded.
They'll relist Solana. They'll if they haven't already.
Oh yeah, I think you can trade. Yeah, they have. They definitely have.
They have. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so it's just like don't mid-curve Robinhood very clearly. We're rolling over the sudden pivot. Is Vlad and his cronies seeing the writing on the wall and trying something different? No, but this is what I'm explaining. It's not a sudden pivot.
No, they've been working.
These guys
have
been in crypto
for like
for longer than you, bro. It's not a sudden pivot. It's just that's what I'm saying. I have not found
Jones. You really got to go to Bankless and watch the Robinhood content there. Like it's really good. They had been building this for 6+ years between wallet and the chain.
Yeah. It doesn't just die. It doesn't just die. I'll tell you that much. Okay. So I think it's a similar situation to Base. Maybe it doesn't attract, like maybe it all rotates back to Solana, but I think it's probably a similar.
All they have to
situation.
do is in their brokerage app have a banner that says Robinhood chain is now live. Try trading on Robinhood crypto or something like that. If they had that as a banner on their app, boom, it's done. It's over. Here's one click, transfer funds from your brokerage account to crypto. Like that would be wild. I think just wild. No, actually
Building products, developing products.
Building. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a single good argument to fade Robinhood. Like I don't mean to sound like rude out here, but I see so many people saying Robinhood's going to be short-lived. It's going to, be here and gone in a week. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, bro.
We've covered
All right,
a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, we've covered a lot. Look, it's not for everyone. But I think it's net benefit to crypto is our point.
Oh, it is. It is. And it's certainly a rising tide situation. This is not coming in at the top. This is one thing I keep talking about too. This is what puts in a bottom for bear markets, guys.
Yes.
When big impactful things like this happen at the peak bear market, when no one's paying attention, at the lows, when sentiment is terrible, this is what puts in the bottom. Crypto Jones always makes me mad, bro. No, I'm not. I'm not mad. I'm trying to get it across to you guys. Like, why are we fading this? Because there will be billion-dollar runners, and you will be sidelined if you're mid-curving it. There will be, just like base had its AI season. Lots of those things went to hundreds of millions, billions of dollars.
The total addressable market of Robinhood chain, the peak bull market, is so big. It's unbelievable. It's like the whole size of crypto. There's like, 50, 60 million crypto users in the United States. I don't know how many users are there of Robinhood, like 80 million plus at least.
How?
And like they have the wealth, it's not like it's just like, oh, I have like a little, neobank app here and I have some money there. It's like people's entire wealth stack are on here.
Yeah, Robinhood has about 30 million net cumulative funded accounts. So accounts with money in them, which is a key piece. Growth from 25 million, the milestone representing steady growth from 25 million in 2024. Honestly, I'm surprised that's not more, to be honest. But
I mean, we can already see on Ethereum, Robinhood, like if you go to ETH BTC ratio, I'm pretty sure Robinhood put the bottom in on the ETH BTC ratio, just to take the market noise out of it and be purely objective. It's what's the ETH BTC ratio? When did it bottom there?
I got you. And here we'll pop this up. So this would have bottomed. And it's been outperforming Bitcoin here for 20 days. Yeah. I mean, the bottom of this was maybe 45 days ago, 26 days ago. Okay. Well, really, there was a bottom.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Local bottom for sure.
Yeah. Local bottom here. I mean, it's been outpacing Bitcoin for the last 20 days, which is since the Robinhood chain. It's been outpacing Solana as well. Solana is obviously outpacing it today, but yeah, and this is the ETH Solana chart. There is like the increase.
This chart is more, I think, indicative too of some of this.
Dude, it's late early. Like, hype is going to pass. Of course, hype's going to pass. There's going to be peaks and troughs, and I do agree. You're making some good points, but I'm still in the camp that the hype will pass and a lot of retail will likely get burned, and it'll be another catalyst for the bottom formation. I mean, I think I do think we see some short-term tops, but I think it's sustainable for sure. So I mean, we've seen like meaningful price increase in Ethereum because of people bridging over and redepositing in ETH to trade Robinhood. That's what's pushed the entire Ethereum push. Like, there's a lot of attention coming here, and it's not stopping now. Like, it is not stopping now. It's gonna keep going. So yeah. That's the read here. I'll even look generally at the market here. Bitcoin is looking pretty good. Again, great zone we talked about. I like how we've been holding up here. Sweet. Bitcoin looks good. ETH looking really good, honestly. Solana, same thing. Let's see what Lighter's doing. Okay, Lighter's on a bit of a pullback. This is one I think you could watch if it keeps dipping a little bit. JTO bouncing a bit. I still think it should come a little bit lower. They have 0 earnings from JTX yet, so I'm not going to price it as if they do. Arbitrum holding up well, of course. This would be a play on Robinhood for sure. Play off the back Robinhood. Virtuals pumping really nicely. This bottomed out with Robinhood, and it's pumping into the agentic news. Virtuals obviously is a big agentic launchpad. They create a lot of agents, and they were launch partners of Robinhood. So this is trading really well because of that. Are you still in WorldCoin, Josh?
No, I actually ended up selling that near the right at the top, actually, near 60 cents. So thank God I got out of that. Oh my goodness.
Uniswap also one set to benefit a lot from Robinhood. Probably like Uniswap looks great here, honestly. Uniswap looks great here.
This is probably one of the best charts I've seen in crypto in general.
It is. I mean, we're literally at levels we were back in 2020 before the entire bull run for Uniswap. If you guys remember the 2020 bull run, like Uniswap was a fantastic pick. But yeah, so I mean, we're at these low levels. I have been seeing Uniswap charts. Let's just pull up Uniswap because their revenue right now is like $4 or $5 million a day. Right now they're making. And of course, if this is obviously EVM, so it'll continue to occur to Uniswap.
This is it, Ave, climbing the wall of worry. That's exactly what we're gonna do.
All right, Hayden's been posting a lot about this. Just saw him retweet something as well. Okay. Update, the numbers are going up quickly. The largest RWA pool on Robinhood is now a NVIDIA USDG Uniswap V4 pool with $3.5 million in daily trading volume.
This is it, guys. This is the thing. This is the new thing.
Wow. Meme volumes have led, but Robinhood tokenized RWA pools are growing quickly on Uniswap. Tokenized RWA. Top AMM pairs by 24-hour volumes. So and now this becomes okay, Crypto Jones, let's play devil advocate here. Everyone leaves, memes die. Well, RWAs are leading right now. Like Robinhood is still live and well because of the RWAs. Let's look at these numbers. This is the first time I've actually looked into these. Meme volume have led, but Robinhood tokenized RWA pools are growing quickly on Uniswap. Top AMM by pair 24-hour volumes. SpaceX 700K, NVIDIA 500, Apple 470, NVIDIA 150, Google 140. This was July 18th. 2 days later, and yeah, 3.6 million in volume the past day for NVIDIA. The numbers are going quickly. The largest RWA pool in our Robinhood chain is now NVIDIA USDG Uniswap V4 pool with $3.5 million in trading volume. Yeah, from 2 days ago, this was 150K. Where's the revenues, man? I saw some revenue numbers. Uniswap TVL on Robinhood chain has reached 60 million, growing 100% over the past week. Yeah, Uniswap, this is a great trade. Honestly, this is a great trade here. Keep an eye on Uniswap. I don't know, like, it's holding up really resiliently as well. Like, look at the last couple days. It's 9 days. Yeah. Get in where you can, I think, here. And I've already checked this, but let's see, what is the market cap? What is the market cap of Uni? $2.25 billion. 2.25 billion. I believe I'd have to check unlock schedule, but I don't think these are a worry right now. And
this is one that
$6 million a day.
It's an ETF candidate. There'll be ETFs for it and stuff like that.
Yes. You know what I should probably go to? Let's go to DeFi Llama. I want to see what Uniswap's kind of doing in revenue right now. I mean, if this is accurate, if this is based on the last 30 days, they're doing $859 million in fees annualized, according to DeFi Llama, which is insane. Wow. Okay, but gross profit is a lot lower. Cost of revenue here, let's see. Gross protocol revenue, 123 million. $13 million distributed to holders because they do have a fee switch here. Is this lifetime? I have to look into this a little bit more. Cost of revenue versus protocol revenue, versus how much is going towards buybacks. But Uniswap's printing right now, to say the least, and it is definitely something that benefits from people coming to EVM, which will benefit from Robinhood. So, yeah, okay. Go short, Crypto Jones. CEO of Coinbase put out a poll on his CEO of Coinbase put out a poll on his X. Half of people think Bitcoin trades lower. Bullish.
You mean Brian Armstrong? Yeah.
Brian
Armstrong.
I don't know. I think a lot. That's just people that are watching crypto right now and voting on a poll that Brian Armstrong posts. I think the general population and majority of people would vote yes, it's going lower, which is bullish, by the way.
What is Met? Let's check Met since their staking launch is today.
Yes, and I think that's doing pretty well. And again, pumps up 20% on the day, as is Met. Yeah, Met looks good here.
Oh, beautiful! Wow, look at that.
Beautiful. Now again, this is a bet on, like, if you're worried about Robinhood taking over, it's going to impact Meteor negatively. But their numbers are strong. I think they're doing about $38 million annualized right now. It's trading at $86 million market cap. The staking, I think a lot of people should stake, because if they're giving away 20% of protocol revenue here for the next 90 days, or even 10%, that's a lot going back to a pretty small group of people that's going to stake. Like, again, if 20% of people stake, that's 20% of people accruing, I think, $300,000 a month is what the Met estimated rewards are going to be. So, yeah, not so bad. Pump Fund, of course, is up as well. I think bottom's in on Pump Fund. We called the bottom notoriously on this show. That's looking good. Cards is down in an interesting zone. Their revenues were dipping for a while. Then I remember they got introduced to Jupiter, I think, or so. I don't know, something. They had another person integrate their platform, basically, and volume started to pick up again. So we'll see if those stick or not. Yeah, outside of that, not going to cover too much on Solana. P0 is holding up really nicely. Keep eyes on that. Go watch our interview with them. Yeah, they're doing some interesting things. Okay. But yeah, outside of that, guys, I think we covered a lot of stuff to watch on Robinhood. Squeeze is one that I'm going to try to get on the show. Again, I think this is another Launchpad that's basically branded as Launchpad for the people. Almost all the fees go back to the people. That's Squeeze. So again, Launchpad Wars, just, I guess, monitor that. It's kind of hard to pick which one's going to be the winner. You just got to look at the numbers. Up as well is a native 3-3 exchange and liquidity marketplace on Robinhood chain. Not entirely familiar with what this is, but it's looking really good. FTV is 60 mil though, but 7 million circulating. Chart looks nice. Again, like, dig into stuff like this. But all right, I think we did a good job kind of covering everything. If you guys have anything specifically that we missed that we should talk about, we can cover it real quick. But it's been a good day.
All right. Yeah, I think that's it. Really quick stream for tomorrow.
And yeah, let's talk about it. Okay. Let's see.
We did cover it, but AI is coming on the show, I believe, tomorrow, right?
Wednesday.
Okay. Squire.
So yeah, and I forgot to do show prep, guys, but if you didn't like and retweet the stream, let's get this thing going. Wyckoff Spring, bro. You know about that. Yeah. Wyckoff is the only way you should be trading, man. Fuck all the indicators. You should be trading naked charts. Indicators are lagging. It's just retarded. Yeah, but I don't typically do TA on a lot of crypto. Pump funds one that's big enough and has enough trading volume to like justify it a little bit, but the fundamentals look good. The overlooming unlocks were gone. It looked like a bullish unlock. Timing in the market was good. Volumes have been picking up, so fundamentals were switching for the positive. So I threw some TA on there. And yeah, it looks really good. But it did have the White Gauss spring, the shakeout. I think the shakeout would be a better way to put it. I think because these markets are less algorithmic heavy. I think this is more just shakeout capitulation. But yeah, you can call it spring. Squires generational entry here. Yeah, Squires probably want to watch if Solana comes back. All right, as I was saying though, here is the weekly schedule. Tomorrow we have CNX coming on, Gumdrop, another new Launchpad, and then Fire's coming back on to talk about the relaunch on Robinhood. So yes, there are people relaunching on Robinhood. Wednesday, AI, we talked about having them come on, stock brokers as well Wednesday. That'll be a pretty big day. We have Wode Thursday, CPX, and then Worker Friday. We'll also probably get someone else on like Up or something. But all right, boys, it's a pleasure. We covered it briefly. That requires a deep dive, I think. And again, we have them coming on Wednesday. We'll do the full deep dive then. So yeah, be sure to tune in. All right, y'all boys. As always, stay up, stay active. I think the trenches are hot. Pay attention, do some research, put in the work. It'll pay off. We'll catch y'all. Peace.
Peace.